Chapter 2385. Yes, she liked Lin Yi. She'd had feelings for Lin Yi before, but she didn't dare face them, didn't dare admit it. She'd lied to herself and told herself that they were just good friends. Until today, when Lin Yi confessed to her. She'd walked out of that self-deception completely. Yes, were she and Lin Yi still good friends? What kind of friends would hug each other all the time? What kind of friends would meet each other? What kind of friends would have their hearts beat faster when they were together? What kind of friends would have their hearts beat faster when they were alone together? No, of course not. Sun Yan took in a deep breath. She felt like she had to do something. Sun Yan returned to the girls' dorm, and a lot of people looked at her strangely. After all, the scene of her leaving the room in a bedsheet was too shocking, and now that she was back in a new set of clothes, there were still a lot of people who were curious. What was Sun Yan doing? But Sun Yan, naturally, didn't have the time to care about other people's thoughts. She quickly went back to her room and closed the door. Sun Yan, what were you doing just now? Why the rush? Xiaoling asked curiously when she saw Sun Yan. If I didn't know Yushu and Mingyao, I would have thought that you were kidnapped again. It's nothing. Sun Yan shook her head. They're just joking. Joking? Xiaoling didn't believe it, but Sun Yan didn't want to talk about it. She didn't ask any more. Zhao Xingji and Bai Weituo asked me and Mei Wei out for dinner. Do you want to go? I'm not going, you guys go. When you come back, just bring me a lunch box from the cafeteria. Sun Yan clearly wasn't in the mood to eat. Plus, Xiaoling and Mei Wei were a couple. Why would she go? All right, I'll be going then. Xiaoling nodded and left the room. Sun Yan, on the other hand, hesitated for a moment before gritting her teeth and dialing her mother's number. Sun Yan, are you feeling better? Xiao Qinlin quickly picked up the phone. Xiao Qinlin was afraid that Sun Yan would be in a bad mood after being kidnapped, so she didn't ask about her daughter's boyfriend at school. Now that Sun Yan had taken the initiative to call, Xiao Qinlin naturally wanted to have a good talk with her. Her brother had called again, saying that House King's Kong Xiaolong was going back to Donghai Industry University to write his doctoral thesis. He wanted Sun Yan to get along well with him. Xiao Qinlin didn't think it was appropriate to interfere with her daughter's freedom of love. But the Xiao family was on the verge of collapse, and this was something they had agreed to before, so Xiao Qinlin could only bite the bullet and agree to it first. Mom! Sun Yan had already planned to tell her mother that she didn't want to marry Gaolong, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Sun Yan rarely disobeyed her parents. This time, she really didn't know what to say. What's wrong, Sun Yan? What kind of trouble are you in? Sun Yan asked. Xiao Qinlin's heart skipped a beat as she hurriedly asked. Mom, I don't want to marry House King's Kong Xiaolong. I want to break off the engagement. Sun Yan finally mustered up the courage to say this from the bottom of her heart. She didn't want to be a good girl anymore. She wanted to rebel for once. What? Qinlin froze. She didn't think that her daughter would be the first to tell her the truth. She was waiting for her daughter to be in a good mood before telling her daughter about her relationship with Xiaolong. She heard that Xiaolong was a good guy, and he was also a doctor. It wouldn't be a shame for Sun Yan to marry him, but she didn't think that Sun Yan would want to break off the engagement. Mom, I'm at school. I have a boyfriend. Sun Yan bit her lips and said firmly, I like him, I want to be with him. I don't want to marry Kong Mingning. I don't want to be manipulated by the family. I want to be a bargaining chip for the Xiao family to marry into the rich and powerful. This? Sun Yan. Qinlin's heart softened. She didn't think that her daughter would be this determined. Last time in Yanjing, her daughter didn't like Xiaolong and didn't want the marriage, but she still agreed to look around first. But this time, Qinlin could feel her daughter's determination. In the past, although her daughter wasn't willing, she didn't put up such a strong resistance. This time, although her daughter didn't make a fuss, her tone was incomparably firm. So, Xiao Qinlin really didn't know what to say. Especially when she thought of her brother Xiao Ji's phone call, Xiao Qinlin felt helpless. Mom, I'm not being impulsive. I'm very sure that I like him. Sun Yan continued. Yen Yen, sigh. Xiao Qinlin sighed and said, Actually, I called you this time to talk about the Kong family's engagement. But you said these things first, so I can't say anything more. Ah? Mom, what's wrong? Did the Kangs say anything? Sun Yan asked, startled. Just now, your uncle called me and told me about the Kong family's engagement. Qinlin didn't hide anything. Your uncle said that House Kang's Dalong is going back to Donghai Industry University to write his doctoral thesis. He wants you two to spend some time together. What? He's here? Sun Yan paused, not expecting Zhalong to be here. She knew that Zhalong was a student at Donghai Industry University, but Zhalong was a PhD student, so he didn't have to stay in school all day. He almost never came to school, and Sun Yan didn't have much interaction with him. She didn't expect him to come back at this time. Sun Yan, I understand what you mean. I'll explain it to your uncle. I hope he can cancel the engagement. Qinlin sighed. Ever since you were kidnapped, your dad and I have become less concerned about business. Nothing is more important than you. Your dad and I were even thinking of selling the company to the kidnappers for ransom, so we think that we can give up on these worldly possessions. As long as you're happy, that's enough. The Xiao family and House Kong won't be able to threaten us anymore. Thank you, Mom. Sun Yan sniffled. She didn't expect her mother to say something like that. Sun Yan wasn't stupid. She could guess the consequences of canceling the engagement. Her father's company might be attacked by both House Kong and Xiao family. But then she thought of Lin Yi, and her heart was filled with hope. Mom, Lin Yi. He's my boyfriend, and he has a lot of connections in Donghai. He knows people from the Hidden House Pi. They're working under Lin Yi right now. Rejecting House Kong won't affect your business. Chapter 2386. What? The Hidden House Pi works for Lin Yi? Qinlin wasn't a stranger to Lin Yi's name. Ling Shan and Meng Yao had both mentioned him back in the police station, but she never would have thought that the Hidden House Pi worked for Lin Yi. Wasn't the Hidden House Pi the support of the Xiao family? How did they become Lin Yi's men? With that, Wang Xinyan's marriage would be settled, wouldn't it? Qinlin let out a breath of relief at the thought. And back then I was saved by the Hidden House Pi's elder Pi, but I didn't tell you or Dad because I wanted to keep it a secret. Sun Yan couldn't hide it anymore. She needed to take out some chips for her own happiness. Is that so? I see. Xiao Qinlin sighed and said, Okay, I'll call your uncle now and tell him about the situation. Okay, thank you, Mom. Sun Yan knew that things were going to work out, and she was happy. But Qinlin's prediction seemed to be a bit off. After she told Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben about it, they were shocked for a moment, but Xiao Ben didn't give a clear answer. He only said that he needed to discuss it with his brother first before making a decision. This surprised Qinlin, but she didn't say anything. She waited quietly for her brother's reply. After hanging up, Xiao Ben's eyebrows furrowed. Xiao Ji, on the other hand, was an impatient man. Brother, if Lin Yi is the Hidden House Pi's boss, then he's our backer's backer. There's no harm in getting on good terms with him. Why don't you agree to cancel the marriage? Cancel the marriage? You want our Xiao family to be Lin Yi's lackeys? Xiao Ji, I think you're crazy. Did you forget that Lin Yi is our Xiao family's #1 enemy? You're an idiot. Go Huli screamed before Xiao Ben could say anything. She didn't want the Xiao family to give in to Lin Yi. Hadn't she lost enough face in front of Lin Yi? One had to admit that this woman was quite vengeful, especially a woman like Go Huli. Once you started to hate someone, it would be to the point of making your hair stand on end. Pa! Xiao Ji heard Huli scream and gave her a big slap. What are you yelling for, you useless bitch? Who are you to make decisions for the Xiao family? You hit me? Xiao Ji, I'm doing this for the good of the Xiao family. How dare you hit me? Go Huli held her swollen face and cried. Damn it! If you call me that again, I'll hit you again, Xiao Ji said angrily. Big brother, don't be angry. Xiao Ben waved his hand to stop Xiao Ji's violence. sister-in-law isn't wrong. Don't be agitated. She's right. Xiao family won't get any benefits if we give in to Lin Yi. Oh. Xiaoji paused. If Sun Yan marries Lin Yi, wouldn't our Xiao family depend on Lin Yi? Even the hidden house pie depends on Lin Yi. This means that Lin Yi has a lot of potential. This is good for the development of our Xiao family. Big brother, you're too naive, Xiao Ben said. You're right, but have you thought about it? How big is the hatred between our Xiao family and Lin Yi? From the beginning, our Xiao family has always been against Lin Yi. We've hit him when he's down. It's already at an irreconcilable stage. That? Xiaoji hesitated. Then if we marry Sun Yan to Lin Yi, wouldn't we become relatives with Lin Yi? Relatives? Xiao Ben laughed coldly. You treat Lin Yi as a relative, but will he treat you as one? We've heard about what happened in the hidden house Tang from the hidden house Yu. Did Lin Yi give face to Tang Yan's father? Did he give face to her grandfather? He's her biological father. What are we? We're not even close to him. That? Xiaoji thought about it. His brother was right. But he still hoped for luck. Didn't Wu Qingtian and the hidden house pie have conflicts with Lin Yi before? Didn't you get Lin Yi's trust now? I don't know if the hidden house pie is on Lin Yi's side or not, but it doesn't matter. Wu Qingtian, too, did he have a direct conflict with Lin Yi? Did it cause any serious consequences? Xiao Ben waved his hand and said, No. Qingtian and House Pie actually didn't have much of a conflict with Lin Yi, it was just that they didn't get along. But there is no way our Xiao family would draw their swords against each other. For example, Zhao Qibing of the hidden house Zhao, Xie Yufeng of the common house Yu, these people had a grudge with Lin Yi. Do you think there's any way to resolve it? The common house Yu was destroyed by Lin Yi, and the hidden house Zhao's Zhao Qibing almost lost his life a couple of times. Do you think Lin Yi would let us, who aren't good relatives of Wang Xinyan, live with us? That? Xiao Ji didn't have much of a brain, but after Xiao Ben's analysis, he felt that it was possible. After all, the Xiao family and Lin Yi had a huge grudge. When Lin Yi was injured, the Xiao family had jumped out to add insult to injury. Would Lin Yi let them go so easily? Then, can't we ask the hidden house pie for mercy? Xiaoji said after some hesitation. Ask for mercy? Do you think the hidden house pie would care about us after joining Lin Yi? Even Wu Qitian wouldn't care about us after joining Lin Yi, let alone the high and mighty hidden house pie. Do you think the hidden house pie would care about us? Xiao Ben shook his head. We're just a money-making tool for the hidden house pie. Now that the hidden house pie has joined Lin Yi's side, and Wu Qitian is Lin Yi's follower, the hidden house pie and Lin Yi would be doing business with Wu Qitian. Would they even consider us? That's true. Xiaoji nodded. Even if we let Wang Xinyan follow Lin Yi, we wouldn't be able to get on Lin Yi's good side. Lin Yi would still ignore us, and the Xiao family's position would still be in danger. But if we force Lin Yi to marry Zhaolong, wouldn't we be going against Lin Yi? Wouldn't Lin Yi destroy us in a fit of rage? If he wanted to, he would have done it a long time ago. The reason why he hasn't is probably because we're Wang Xinyan's uncle's son, so we don't have to be afraid of anything. Xiao Ben said. At that time, when the hidden Tang family broke off with Lin Yi and Tang Yun, I didn't see Lin Yi do anything. Xiao Ben was right, Lin Yi didn't do anything to the hidden house pie, but it wasn't because he didn't want to, but because he wasn't their opponent. Chapter 2387. Xiao Ben neglected this important point. How could the Xiao family be compared to the hidden house Tang? But if we force Sun Yan to marry Daolong, will Lin Yi retaliate? Even if he doesn't, won't the hidden house pie do it? Xiao Ji asked worriedly. This actually has nothing to do with the Xiao family. We can just kick the ball to House Kong. I don't think they'll agree to cancel the marriage, right? Xiao Ben smiled darkly. Of course, we'll add oil to the fire and stir up House King's emotions. They have the hidden house Yu as their backing, and they're very arrogant. When the time comes, our Xiao family will join the hidden house Yu as well, and the hidden house pie won't work. All right, we'll listen to you, brother. Xiaoji nodded. What Xiaoji said was not wrong. During this period of time, the Kang family's confidence had indeed swelled to its peak. The reason was simple. Kang Mingming, who said he was helping the hidden house you with something, suddenly sent a message saying that he wasn't actually helping the hidden house you, but that the ancient sect, Sky Elixir, had chosen him to help them with something. Although Kang Mingming didn't say what he was helping the Sky Elixir sect with, Elder Kang could hear the sense of superiority in Kang Mingming's words. Kang Mingming must be doing quite well, or else he wouldn't have made a call like this. Kang Zhaoming was doing quite well. After he was brought back to Sky Elixir School, the old head of Sky Elixir School, 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 Sky Elixir School. The Flaming Young pill was a level 3 pill, and it wasn't easy to make. You might not succeed even after a few tries, and it was very exhausting. This was also why Tiandi wouldn't easily agree to make the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill for Bingtang. If he had the time and energy, he wouldn't even be able to make some level 3 pills for his own family, let alone someone else. Naturally, that was impossible. Even the reward of the Heavenly Elixir School's trial test clearly stated that the reward could be a 3rd-grade elixir pill of the Heavenly Elixir School, but one could not ask the Heavenly Elixir School to refine a 3rd-grade elixir pill for them. If there was no 3rd-grade elixir pill that the trial taker needed, they could use other heavenly treasures instead. This was enough to explain how difficult it was to make a level 3 pill. Of course, most of the 3rd-grade elixir pills in the Heavenly Elixir sect were not refined by the people of heaven and earth. Instead, they were refined by Patriarch Xuanchen's senior brother. Patriarch Xuanchen's senior brother was an alchemist, and his standards were higher than heaven and earth man's. However, heaven and earth man did not dare to ask exactly how high he was. Of course, if it wasn't Tiandi Sect's senior was in closed training. Heaven and Earth Man would definitely ask Patriarch Xuanchen's senior brother to help him refine a 3rd-grade elixir, but there was no other way. He could only do it personally. Things were settled. Kang Mingming was allowed to make a call home, and when Kang Mingming told Dr. Kang everything, Dr. Kang was surprised and happy. He didn't expect that his grandson, whom he didn't think highly of, would once again bring him an unparalleled surprise. With that, Miracle Dr. Kang gathered all the members of the house and held a family meeting. When Dr. Kang told Kang Guifeng, Kang Tsuipu, and Kang Zhaolong about Kang Mingming's current situation, the 3 of them were a little dumbfounded and felt that it was unbelievable. They didn't expect it. Kang Mingming was chosen by the Sky Elixir sect to help them. This was a great honor. No one in the Kang family was stupid. The Hidden Yu family was such a powerful alchemy family, but no one was chosen by the Sky Elixir sect. Instead, Kang Mingming was taken away to help. This meant that the help was definitely not simple, and only Kang Mingming could help. Therefore, everyone in the Kang family understood one thing. The Kang family's meteoric rise was imminent. Relying on the ancient sect, it wasn't impossible for the Kang family to directly upgrade to a hidden family. Although Zhao Ming didn't say it explicitly this time, the hint was clear enough. He is highly valued in the Sky Elixir sect, learning alchemy from the 5th elder of the Sky Elixir sect. Although he only said to help the Sky Elixir sect with one thing and didn't say what it was, his identity as the 5th elder's disciple is enough to make his identity incomparably prominent. Dr. Kang said. Everyone, think about it. Even the Hidden Yu family doesn't have this treatment, but Zhao Ming did it. Our Kang family's future really needs to be planned carefully. Yeah, I didn't think that this kid Zhao Ming would bring us so many surprises recently. When Kang Guifeng said this, his emotions were complicated. He was both envious and happy, but most of all, he was relieved. Kang Mingming went to the Sky Elixir sect and became their disciple. It was basically impossible for him to return to the Kang family. Even if the small Kang family was upgraded to a hidden family, it was nothing to Kang Mingming. His position in the Sky Elixir sect and the head of the Kang family were 2 completely different concepts. So with this, it was impossible for Kang Mingming to fight with Zhao Long for the position of the head of the house. This was a good thing. Zhao Long, naturally, understood this as well. This Kang Xiaoming's luck was just too good. He'd worked so hard, but he'd still have to rely on Kang Xiaoming's whims in the future. Even if he became the head of House Kang, the entire House Kang would still have to listen to him. Grandpa, this is a good opportunity for us Kang family. If we grasp it well, we can form a relationship with the Sky Elixir sect and become a hidden house. Vao Long was excited. Although he still had to rely on Kang Mingming in the future, if he could become the young master of a hidden house, it would be completely different from his current position. Zhao Long is right. Our pharmaceutical company is currently suffering quite a blow, but if we can form a relationship with the Heavenly Elixir sect and use the Heavenly Elixir sect's route, we can act as an agent to sell some elixirs and treasures of heaven and earth, just like the Hidden Yu family. When that time comes, we will be rolling in money. Dr. Kang nodded. Gui Feng, our business with Dr. Kang's medicine company is almost finished. We're not making much money now anyway. If we can sell it, we'll sell it. We'll plan for the future. Chapter 2388. Yes, Father! Kang Gui Feng nodded. Dr. Kang's medical company was barely hanging on. After being attacked by Lin Yi, there wasn't much business at all. It was just that House Kang had been passive all this time and hadn't found any suitable new business, so they had been dragging it on. Now that Kang Mingming had become a refiner, even if the failed pills were brought to House Kang and sold to normal practitioners, such as bodyguards of wealthy merchants, it would still be a huge fortune. House Yu wasn't too willing to do this kind of low-end business, so House Kang could fill this gap in the market. Yes, does anyone have any suggestions? Let's hear it together. Dr. Kang asked. Grandpa, about my marriage with Wang Xinyan. Vao Long hesitated and asked. He was a very utilitarian person. Although he felt that Wang Xinyan wasn't bad, and he was drooling over her beauty, if he had to compare it with his family's interests, he could give up on her beauty. Yes, Father, shouldn't Zhao Long break off the engagement and find a better one? Like the daughters of other hidden houses? Kang Gui Feng was also a very snobbish person, so he asked. Break off the engagement? Stupid! Dr. Kang snorted and said. Xiao family's Wang Xinyan, your marriage with her should be done as it should be. Not only can you not break off the engagement, but you must also try your best to make this marriage happen. Oh? Why is that? Kang Gui Feng was stunned. He didn't expect his father to say this. Gui Feng, we, House Kang, suffered a great loss because we went back on our words last time. Dr. Kang waved his hand and said with a serious expression. Last time, it was because we were too eager for success and went back on our words that we almost lost the chance to build a relationship with House Yu. If it wasn't for the Xiao family helping us, we wouldn't have been able to build a relationship with the hidden House Yu. So, it's all thanks to the Xiao family that our House Kang is where we are today. Luckily, the Xiao family didn't mind. Otherwise, our Kang family will really decline. Kang Gui Feng and Kang Xiaolong froze, but they nodded. They had to admit that Dr. Kang was right. And this time, Zhaoming's success is because of the hidden Yu family. As the saying goes, don't forget the one who dug the well when you drink water. Our Kang family will never break off the engagement with the Xiao family because of this. Not only that, we must also try our best to facilitate this marriage. Dr. Kang saw that Kang Gui Feng and Kang Baolong were listening, so he continued. From your point of view, it's more beneficial for us to marry into the hidden houses, but do you think that with our family's current situation, those hidden houses would really look at us? Yes, we have the support of the Heavenly Elixir sect, but how many hidden families don't have the support of an ancient sect? Just look at the hidden house Yu and the hidden house Pai. These old hidden houses had the shadow of the ancient level behind them. If we marry them, will they even look at us? What's more, if our Kang family breaks the engagement, in their eyes, we'll become treacherous people. If we did it once, can't there be a second time? Let me make a bold guess. If Kang Mingming becomes an elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, wouldn't our Kong family's position be above the hidden houses? At that time, would we break the engagement and marry into an ancient sect or an ancient house? Our Kong family's reputation would be ruined by then. So you're saying that our family will continue to work with the Xiao family and maintain our friendship? Kong Guifeng asked carefully. That's right. Not only do we need to maintain our friendship with the Xiao family, but we also need to use this opportunity to extend an olive branch and bring the Xiao family into our business. We'll get rich together, Dr. Kong said. These few business failures have made me understand some things. Our Kong family was too selfish in the past. But now, we need to change this bad habit. We need to let people see that those who helped us, after our Kong family becomes strong, will repay them with even a drop of water. Grandpa, I understand what you're trying to say. Xiaolong nodded thoughtfully. You're trying to tell us that as our Kong family gets stronger and stronger, we need to pay more attention to our reputation. It's good that you understand, Xiaolong. Miracle Dr. Kong nodded. Your marriage isn't important anymore. As long as Xiaoming is here, we can't fall. Instead of a marriage alliance, why don't you just follow Xiaoming? That's better than anything else. Of course, Xiaolong, don't think too much about it. Xiaoming may be doing better than you, but when you become the head of the house, your position will be much higher than before. Yes. Xiaolong nodded quickly. He thought this through long ago. Even if he still had to lower his head in front of Kong Mingming, there was no other way. Kong Mingming was a member of the Heavenly Elixir sect, not just his little brother, and he'd gotten a lot of benefits from this. As they were talking, the phone beside Old Kang's hand rang. Old Kong looked at the caller ID and after a slight surprise he picked up the phone with a smile. Hello, head of house Yu. Old Kong, just call me Old Yu from now on. Why are you calling me head of the house? It's too formal. Old Yu laughed and said politely. Hee hee, then I'll do as you say. Old Kong was also a sly old fox. He immediately understood the purpose of Old Yu's call. He was trying to rope in his family. In the past, when the hidden house Yu called the Kong family, it was always with a master's commanding tone. It was never this polite. But today, Old Yu changed his attitude and spoke to him in a tone of equality. Old Kong knew that the Yu family had received the news. Old Kong, congratulations. Your grandson is valued by the Heavenly Elixir sect and has become the fifth elder's proud disciple. In the future, when he becomes successful and becomes the next elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, don't forget to remind our house Yu. Old Yu obviously knew more than Old Kong. Since Kong Mingming could clearly release the news that he had become the fifth elder's disciple, and the celestial being had personally refined the elixir, it showed that Kong Mingming was going to be successful in the future. If he really refined the bone-washing pill, then Kong Mingming would become the fifth elder's successor and become the next elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect. This was basically a matter of fact. Therefore, even Old Yu had to be moved and build a good relationship with the Kong family in advance. An elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect was a high existence in front of the hidden house Yu. It could even directly determine the status of the house Yu in front of the Heavenly Elixir sect. How could Old Yu not pay attention to it? Hee hee, you flatter me. Xiaoming is still young. He is just a little disciple. He is too far away from becoming an elder. Although Old Kong said so, his heart jumped. Happy face. Chapter 2389. Obviously, the Hidden Yu family's information channel was better than the Kong family. However, Old Man Kong was very excited after listening to it. Can Kong Mingming really become the next elder? Previously, he was just fantasizing and guessing. But now, after listening to Old Man Yu's words, the thoughts in his heart were a little different. After all, if Kong Mingming didn't have any development, Old Man Yu wouldn't call him with such a low profile. You're being modest. You can't say that. I heard that Zhao Ming is the fifth elder's last disciple. His future is limitless, Old Man Yu said with a smile. Dr. Kong was even more surprised. He didn't expect Kong Mingming's luck to be so good. He actually became the fifth elder's last disciple. He didn't say anything about this. If it weren't for Old Man Yu's phone call, Dr. Kong wouldn't know that Kong Ming Ming was so bad *SS. Hee, Old Man Yu, keep a low profile. Zhao Ming is still young. It's not easy to be praised too much. Understood. Old Man Yu said with a smile. Oh yeah, I heard that Zhao Ming's brother is also majoring in biomedicine at Donghai Industry University. Yeah, Zhaolong is going back to write his doctoral thesis these few days. Dr. Kong said. What's the matter? My grandson, Yu Panhu, is also majoring in biomedicine at Donghai Industry University. He is also Boss Bai's disciple. They can get closer in the future. Old Man Yu said. Alright, it's easier for young people to communicate together. Dr. Kong sighed. If it were in the past, the hidden Yu family would never bother with the Kong family. The two weren't on the same level at all. But now, Old Man Yu had obviously regarded the Kong family as an equal partner. That's good. Old Man Kong, you continue with your work. I don't have anything else to call. I just want to get in touch. Old Man Yu said. After hanging up the phone, Dr. King's heart was fluctuating. He still underestimated Kong Ming Ming's status. It seemed that Kong Ming Ming was now one of the important figures in Heavenly Elixir sect? The Kong family was really going to be awesome. Looking at Kong Guifeng, Kong Tsepu, and Kong Zhaolong, Dr. Kong said, Zhao Ming's luck this time has exceeded our expectations. Our house Kong is really amazing this time. Father, what did the hidden old master Yu say? Kong Guifeng asked quickly. Old Man Yu said that Zhao Ming has a high position in the Heavenly Elixir sect and is the fifth elder's last disciple. It's very likely that he will become an elder in the future. Miracle Dr. Kong didn't hide anything. These things were all very beneficial to House Kong. Zhao Ming might have been modest and didn't say much, but House Yu's information network is much better than ours. They're already trying to get on our good side. Future elders? Kong Guifeng and others were shocked. Although Dr. Kong had said similar words before, it was just speculation and analysis. The effect of these words coming from the Yu family was completely different. Yes, and Old Man Yu said that his grandson, Yu Panhu, is also in Donghai Industry University's biomedical faculty. Zhaolong, go find him and get closer to him. Dr. Kong said. Okay, Grandpa. Zhaolong took a deep breath and clenched his fists. Clenching his fists tightly, he never thought that he would one day successfully raise his status to the level of a young master of a hidden house. This status was something that he could only dream of in the past, but he got it so easily and unexpectedly. He was very excited. Remember, be domineering in the future and don't embarrass House Kong. Don't embarrass Zhao Ming. Zhao Ming represents the Heavenly Elixir sect. Dr. Kong was very confident this time. But our House Kong is not afraid of trouble. Don't be afraid of trouble now, but don't take the initiative to stir up trouble. After all, every move we make may be watched by others. I understand, Grandpa. Don't worry, I won't go looking for trouble. Long nodded. Guifeng, tell this news to your in-laws, Xiao family. Let them be happy. Dr. Kang's tone was calm, but it was obvious that he wanted to show off. Okay. I'll make the call now. Kong Guifeng's phone rang before he could make the call. Kong Guifeng looked at the caller ID and froze. Because the person who called was Xiao Ben from the Xiao family. Speak of the devil, and he will appear. Hello, I'm Kong Guifeng. Kong Guifeng picked up the phone. Xiao Ben bro, why are you calling me all of a sudden? Haha, Kong bro, I'm really sorry to call you this time. To tell you the truth, there's some conflict in my family. Xiao Ben said. Oh? Family conflict? Why are you calling me if it's a conflict in the Xiao family? Kong Guifeng paused. There's a saying that even an upright official can't solve a family conflict. I can't interfere, can I? It's actually related to House Kong. That's why I'm calling for help. Xiao Ben smiled bitterly. Related to House Kong? Then what is it? Kong Guifeng didn't know what was going on. It's about Wang Xinyan and Zhaolong's marriage, Xiao Ben said. Wang Xinyan has some problems. Kang Guifeng frowned, anger rising in his heart. I say, Xiao Ben, are you trying to say that your Xiao family wants to cancel the marriage again? Kang Guifeng couldn't be blamed for his anger. House Kang was so powerful now that they didn't go to the Xiao family to cancel the marriage. How could he not be angry when Xiao family called them to cancel the marriage? This was simply humiliating the Kang family. Kang bro, please calm down. How could we cancel the marriage? Xiao Ben said quickly. Kang bro, you know that our Xiao family has been following House Kang's lead. Then what is it? Kang Guifeng felt much better after hearing Xiao Ben's explanation, especially when it came to following Kang Guifeng's lead. Man, my sister just called. She said that Wang Xinyan doesn't want to get engaged anymore. She wants to cancel the marriage because she likes someone else in school. Xiao Ben said bitterly. Xiao Ben, what do you mean? She's engaged and she likes someone else? Kang Guifeng frowned again. Are you messing with us? Kang bro, that's impossible. Xiao Ben explained. You know that our Xiao family has been trying to make this marriage happen, but the problem is that your son Zhaolong isn't doing well. He's already engaged to Xinyan, and the two of them should be in contact more often. Xinyan wouldn't have the chance to fall in love with someone else, but your son hasn't shown up for a while now. Isn't that giving others a chance to take advantage of her? Chapter 2390. Obviously, the Hidden You family's information channel was better than the Kang family. However, Old Master Kang was very excited after listening to it. Can Kang Mingming really become the next elder? Previously, he was just fantasizing and guessing, but now after listening to Old Master Yu's words, the thoughts in his heart were a little different. After all, if Kang Mingming didn't have any development, Old Master Yu wouldn't call in such a low profile to build a relationship. You're being modest. You can't say that. I heard that Zhao Ming is the fifth elder's last disciple. His future is limitless. Old Master Yu said with a smile. Dr. Kang was even more surprised. He didn't expect Kang Mingming's luck to be so good. He actually became the fifth elder's last disciple. He didn't say anything about this. If it weren't for Old Master Yu's phone call, Dr. Kang wouldn't know that Kang Mingming was so bad *SS. Hee, Old Master Yu, keep a low profile. Zhao Ming is still young. It's not easy to be praised too much. Understood. Old Master Yu said with a smile. Oh yeah, I heard that Zhao Ming's brother is also majoring in biomedicine at Donghai Industry University. Yeah, Zhaolong is going back to write his doctoral thesis these few days. Dr. Kang said. What's the matter? My grandson, Yu Panhu, is also majoring in biomedicine at Donghai Industry University. He is also Boss Bai's disciple. They can get closer in the future. Old Master Yu said. All right, it's easier for young people to communicate together. Dr. Kang sighed. If it were in the past, the Hidden You family would never bother with the Kang family. The two weren't on the same level at all. But now, Old Master Yu had obviously regarded the Kang family as an equal partner. That's good. Old Master Kang, you continue with your work. I don't have anything else to call. I just want to get in touch. Old Master Yu said. After hanging up the phone, Dr. Kang's heart was in turmoil. He still underestimated Kang Mingming's status. It seemed that Kang Ming was definitely one of the important figures in Heavenly Elixir sect. The Kang family was really going to be awesome. Looking at Kang Guifeng, Kang Tsepu, and Kang Zhaolong, Dr. Kang said, Zhao Ming's luck this time has exceeded our expectations. Our house Kang is really amazing this time. Father, what did the hidden Old Master Yu say? Kang Guifeng asked quickly. Old man, you said that Zhao Ming's position in the Heavenly Elixir sect is very high. He's the fifth elder's last disciple and is very likely to be a future elder. Miracle Dr. Kang didn't hide anything. These things were all very beneficial to House Kang. Zhao Ming might have been modest and didn't say much, but House Yu's information network is much better than ours. They're already trying to get on our good side. Future elders? Kang Guifeng and the others were shocked. Although Dr. Kong said something similar before, it was just speculation and analysis. The effect of these words coming from the Yu family was completely different. Yes, an old man Yu said that his grandson, Yu Panhu, is also studying in East Ocean Industry University's biomedical department. Valong, you should go find him and get closer to him, Dr. Kong said. Okay, Grandpa. Jialong took a deep breath and clenched his fists. He never thought that there would be a day where he would successfully raise his status to the level of a young master of a hidden house. This status was something that he could only dream of in the past, but he got it so easily and unexpectedly. He was very excited. Remember, in the future, you must be domineering and don't embarrass House Kong. Don't embarrass Zhao Ming. Zhao Ming represents the Heavenly Elixir sect. Dr. Kong was very confident this time. But our House Kong is not afraid of trouble now, but we shouldn't actively cause trouble. After all, our every move can be watched by others. I understand, Grandpa. Don't worry, I won't actively cause trouble. Long nodded. Gui Feng, tell this news to your in-laws, Xiao family. Let them be happy. Dr. Kang's tone was calm, but it was obvious that he wanted to show off. Okay, I'll make the call now. Kang Guifeng's phone rang before he could make the call. Kang Guifeng looked at the caller ID and froze. The person who called was Xiao Ben from the Xiao family. Speak of the devil and he's here. Hello, I'm Kang Guifeng. Kang Guifeng picked up the phone. Xiao Ben bro, why are you calling me all of a sudden? Haha, Kang bro, I'm really sorry to call you this time. To be honest, there's some conflict in my family. Xiao Ben said. Oh? Conflict in your family? Why are you calling me if it's a conflict in the Xiao family? Kang Guifeng paused. There's a saying that even an upright official can't solve a family conflict. I can't interfere, can I? It's actually related to House Kong. That's why I'm calling for help. Xiao Ben smiled bitterly. Related to House Kong? Then what is it? Kang Guifeng didn't know what was going on. It's about Wang Xinyan and Zhaolong's marriage, Xiao Ben said. Wang Xinyan's side has some problems. Problems? Kang Guifeng frowned, anger welling up in his heart. I say, Xiao Ben, are you trying to say that your Xiao family wants to cancel the marriage again? Kang Guifeng couldn't be blamed for his anger. House Kong was so powerful now that they didn't go to the Xiao family to cancel the marriage. How could he not be angry when Xiao family called them to cancel the marriage? This was a slap to House Kang's face. Kong bro, please calm down. How could we cancel the marriage? Xiao Ben quickly said. Kong bro, you know that our Xiao family has been following House Kang's lead. Then what is it? Kang Guifeng felt much better after hearing Xiao Ben's explanation, especially when he heard that they were following the lead. It made Kang Guifeng feel much better. Sai, my sister just called. She said that Wang Xinyan doesn't want to get engaged anymore. She wants to cancel the marriage because she likes someone else in school. Xiao Ben said bitterly. Xiao Ben, what's the meaning of this? You're engaged, but you still like someone else? Kang Guifeng frowned again. Are you messing with us? Chapter 2391. Humph, it takes two hands to clap. Kang Guifeng snorted coldly. However, the Kang family had been busy with the company's affairs a while ago. Jiaolong was also busy with the company's affairs. How could he have the mood to be in a relationship? Therefore, Kang Guifeng really couldn't refute what Xiao Ben said. However, Xiao Ben's words about Jiaolong not working hard made him very angry. He thought to himself, why is my son not working hard? Anyway, I will definitely not agree to it. Xiao Ben said. I strongly rejected my sister's proposal. This is a big matter that our two families have discussed. How can we change it just like that? Brother Kang, I am actually reminding nephew Jiaolong out of kindness. If his wife is taken away by someone else, it will be a disgrace to the Kang family. What is the status of the Kang family? She is the representative of the hidden house of Yu. Yes, this matter must not happen. The Kang family can't afford to lose this face. If the daughter-in-law of our Kong family is taken away by someone else, how will the Kong family survive in the future? Kong Gufeng said indignantly. However, Brother Xiao, your words are different. Our Kong family is no longer the representative of the hidden house of Yu. Ah? Not anymore? Xiao Ben was stunned. He didn't understand what Kong Gufeng meant. Could it be that the Kong family and the hidden house of Yu had a conflict? Kong Mingming of our Kong family is currently accepted as the last disciple of the fifth elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect. He is also one of the future elders of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Kong Gufeng said proudly. So, our Kong family may be a hidden family in the future. At present, we have a similar relationship with the House of Yu. We are both under the Heavenly Elixir sect. What? Xiao Ben heard Kong Gufeng's words and suddenly widened his eyes. He never thought that Kong Mingming of the Kong family was so powerful that he was accepted as the last disciple of the fifth elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect? And the future elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect? Isn't this too amazing? However, when Xiao Ben came back to his senses, he didn't think that Kong Gufeng was lying at all. After all, who would dare to joke about such things? Thinking of this, Xiao Ben was a little excited. He was smart and didn't compromise with Lin Yi. Otherwise, the Xiao family would be finished. How powerful was the Heavenly Elixir sect? That was a very powerful sect in the ancient times. It would be a piece of cake for them to destroy the Xiao family. He had made the right bet this time. If he followed the Kong family in the future, he wouldn't have to worry about not having a meteoric rise. Congratulations, Brother Kong. From now on, I'll call you the Hidden Kong family's young master. Xiao Ben immediately said flatteringly. Young Master Kong, from now on, our Xiao family will follow you. If you have any errands to run, don't forget us. Sure. Kong Gufeng said, feeling a little smug. Right, let's talk about Wang Xinyan first. What's going on? Wang Xinyan. Right, the person she likes is the enemy of your Kong family. Xiao Ben said, gritting his teeth. That person is Lin Yi. If it was someone else, they might be able to tolerate it, but Lin Yi can't, can he? Your Kong family's company went bankrupt because of Lin Yi, can you? You're the representatives of the ancient sects now, the future hidden house. How can you let a little bastard bully you? Can you? We didn't dare to mess with Lin Yi before, but now we have Kong Mingming, Xiaolong's brother, can you? Can Kong Mingming just watch his sister-in-law be taken away? Absolutely not, can you? Lin Yi. Kong Gufeng said angrily. You and House Kong have an irreconcilable enmity. Brother Xiao, don't you worry, we'll get to the bottom of this. We, the Kong family, must fight for our honor. Yeah, this is a slap in the face. Xiao Ben said. Most importantly, Lin Yi is in the wrong. We can't let this go. Okay, I understand, but you should restrain your Wang Xinyan as well. She's engaged, so you need to be more careful. Kong Gufeng said. Of course I understand. Xiao Ben nodded. Don't worry, Kong bro. Kong Gufeng hung up and told Dr. Kong, Cuipu, and Xiaolong what Xiao Ben told him. Cuipu and Xiaolong were very agitated, thinking that they couldn't just let this go. This was a slap in the face, and they had to fight for it. Father, we can't just let this go. Lin Yi bullied us before, and we didn't have anyone to back us up. Now that we have someone to back us up, how can we let him bully us? Xiaolong had long since treated Wang Xinyan as his private property. He was already pissed when Lin Yi destroyed Dr. Kang's medical company, and now Lin Yi stole his woman. No matter how cunning he was, he couldn't hold it in anymore. But Dr. Kang's expression was very calm. He waved his hand at the angry Xiaolong. Xiaolong, don't be angry. Xiao family might not have good intentions. Dr. Kang was a snobbish man, but he was also a cunning and sinister man. He could tell from Xiao Ben's call that Xiao family might not have good intentions. Oh? Father, what do you mean? Kong Gufeng paused. Xiao family is trying to maximize their benefits. If Wang Xinyan were to follow Lin Yi, it wouldn't benefit Xiao family at all. Dr. Kang said. Xiao family and Lin Yi are mortal enemies, and it's unlikely that they'll be able to resolve it. If Sun Yan were to follow Lin Yi, Xiao family and House King's relationship would fall apart. To them, it's more harm than good, but they don't want to mess with Lin Yi, so they're kicking the ball to us, instigating you on the phone to make us go against Lin Yi. That's... Kang Guifeng listened to Dr. Kang's analysis and thought through some of the problems. Then shouldn't we just sit back and watch the tigers fight? Of course not. No matter what, Wan Xinyan is our daughter-in-law. If Lin Yi were to take her away, it'd be a disgrace to House Kang, and it'd be a stain on Zhaoming's name. The hidden House Yu would laugh at us too. Dr. Kang waved his hand. Right now, House King's reputation is very important. If we cause any bad news and the Sky Elixir sect finds out, it'll very likely hinder our path to becoming a top hidden house. Then, Father, you're saying that we should go against Lin Yi? But with our current strength, we can't do that. Kang Guifeng asked carefully. Chapter 2392. Kang Guifeng, Kang Cuipu, and Kang Xiaolong's expressions changed after hearing Dr. Kang's analysis. But Dr. Kang didn't give them the chance to speak. Before Zhaoming has a firm foothold, we shouldn't get into a big conflict with our enemies. Let Xiaolong go and get Sun Yan back from Lin Yi's hands. Lin Yi is a playboy with so many girlfriends, he might not be true to Sun Yan. Baolong still has an advantage. Plus, weren't you getting along well with Sun Yan back in Yanjing? Well, we were good back then, but we haven't seen each other for a while now. Xiaolong didn't expect Lin Yi and Sun Yan to be together. Was there something wrong with Sun Yan? Lin Yi had Tang Yun, Feng Xiaoxiao, and that Guan Xin whom he had an unclear relationship with. What was this Sun Yan doing? How about this? Sun Yan is in Dahai Industry University's biology major, Boss Bai's class. Yu Panhu is there too. You go there and listen in. While you're building a good relationship with Panhu, you can get in touch with Sun Yan and get her back for me. Dr. Kang said. There's an important rule in Boss Bai's class: students can't fight to the death, but dirty tricks are allowed. Lin Yi won't be able to do anything to you. All right. Xiaolong used to be Boss Bai's student, so he naturally knew about Boss Bai's rules. He also knew that Boss Bai's status was very high, and that Lin Yi wouldn't do anything rash. He wasn't afraid of starting a feud with Lin Yi because Lin Yi wouldn't do anything to him. In Xiaolong's mind, Lin Yi was a martial artist with no intelligence. He was a violent maniac. As for the attack on Dr. Kang's medical company, while Lin Yi was involved, Xiaolong believed that while Lin Yi was Fatty Lai's boss, Fatty Lai was still the one doing the work. The prescription was made by Guan Xueming, and Lin Yi didn't know anything about business. Taking a step back, even if Lin Yi and Xueming were the ones who came up with the recipe, Lin Yi only had some medical knowledge. When it came to scheming, Xiaolong didn't lose to anyone. After House Kang made their decision, Guifeng called Xiao Ben back and told him about House Kang's decision. Xiao Ben, on the other hand, told Xiao Ji about House Kang's latest movements. Brother, you're the best. You're far-sighted. Xiao Ji heard that House Kang's Kang Ningming was accepted as a disciple by the fifth elder of Sky Elixir sect, and that he had a chance to become an elder of Sky Elixir sect in the future. He sighed. If it wasn't for Xiao Ben's persistence, Xiao family would have been done for. Haha, brother, this is a great opportunity. If House Kang becomes strong, then our Xiao family's status will rise as well. Xiao Ben smiled. It was good enough for us to protect our status as noble houses, but now, hidden noble houses are waving at us. Haha, of course. But Wang Xinyan. She better not get into trouble, Xiaoji said worriedly. If something really happens between her and that little bastard Lin Yi, then Xiao family will lose the chance to be rich and powerful. Yeah, I've already instigated House Khan to make a move, but we need to warn Xinyan in advance. Don't let her do anything immoral. Xiao Ben nodded. If nothing happens between her and Lin Yi, House Khan won't give up, but if she's a slut then Xiaolong won't bother. Compared to that, marrying a slut is even more shameful. Yes, then how should we tell Xiao Qinlin? Xiao Ji was even more worried after hearing this. What if we warn her and it backfires? That won't happen, I'll tell her. Xiao Ben had an idea. All right, I'll leave it to you, brother. You're the brains of our family. Xiao Ji let out a breath of relief when he heard that Xiao Ben had an idea. Xiao Ben dialed Qinlin's number again, and Qinlin was anxiously waiting for Xiao family's reply. Qinlin, it's your brother, Xiao Ben. Xiao Ben said after the call went through. Brother, how is it? Can we break off the engagement? Qinlin asked quickly. Qinlin, it's not that I want to lecture you, but marriage is a big deal. We're already engaged to House Kong. If we break off the engagement now, the consequences will be severe, Xiao Ben said with a heavy heart. Brother, I know it's a little troublesome, but Xinyan has spoken, and I've discussed it with her father. Ever since Xinyan was kidnapped, we've realized that Xinyan is the most important thing. Everything else is just worldly possessions, Qinlin said. We don't need our company anymore. We can give it to you, or House Kong. It doesn't matter if we have nothing, as long as Xinyan is happy. Xiao Ben was startled. He didn't expect Qinlin to be so resolute this time. She even wanted to give up the company? Originally, he wanted to use the company to threaten Qinlin, but it seemed impossible now. However, Xiao Ben wasn't called the brains of his family for nothing. He immediately had another idea. Qinlin, it's not about the company anymore. It's about whether House Kong can let Xiao family go, and you and Xinyan go. So what if they don't? Qinlin said firmly. We don't want the company anymore. What else can they do? It's not something that can be solved just because you say you don't want it. Xiao Ben paused, then said, Qinlin, if Xinyan and Lin Yi are together, she and Lin Yi will both die. Do you believe it? Qinlin was stunned. Die? How can they die? No matter how overbearing the Kong family is, they can't just kill people, right? Heh. That was before. Xiao Ben shook his head. There are some things you don't know yet. House King's Kong Mingming, Zhaolong's younger brother, has caught the eye of the fifth elder of the Sky Elixir sect, one of the biggest ancient sections. He's been taken in as his last disciple, the future elder of the Sky Elixir sect. Now that House Kong has the protection of the Sky Elixir sect, do you think Kong Mingming will let it go if he finds out that his sister-in-law was seduced? If he brings a few masters from the Sky Elixir sect, it'll be the end of our sect. Don't think that just because Lin Yi has some martial arts, and has the support of the hidden House Pai, he's nothing in the eyes of the ancient sects. Chapter 2393. But the legendary ancient sect had accepted Kong Mingming as a disciple, and Kong Mingming could even become an elder of the Sky Elixir sect? Qinlin couldn't digest all of this at once. It was too surreal. It was unrealistic to say that House Kong could destroy Lin Yi and House Xiao, but it should be easy for an ancient sect to destroy Lin Yi and House Xiao. They could destroy them with a snap of their fingers. Even a hidden house was very powerful in Qinlin's eyes, let alone an ancient sect. If it weren't for the head of the hidden House Pai, Wang Xinyan wouldn't even be alive right now. And so, Qinlin was dumbfounded. Qinlin, I'm doing this for the good of the Xiao family, and I don't want anything to happen to Xinyan. As for that little bastard Lin Yi, I'd be happy if he got rid of him. Xiao Ben was playing hard to get. But if Kong Mingming from the Sky Elixir sect comes out and takes out Lin Yi, Xinyan might not be in a good position. Think about it, in his eyes, marrying Lin Yi's woman back to House Kong would be a slap in the face. Getting rid of them was the best way. It was the least shameful way to solve the problem. In the end, our Xiao family, you and I will both die. It's that serious. Xiao Qinlin was quite frightened, because what Xiao Ben said was too frightening. Yes, it's very serious, Xiao Ben said. This is actually very easy to prove. You don't have to doubt it. Kong Zhaolong will be going to Xinyan's class to listen in these few days. According to the Hidden House Yu's request, Yu Panhu has to get close to Kong Zhaolong, and Xinyan will be able to see him in a few days. That? Qinlin was really hoping for luck. She was scared, but she hoped that Xiao Ben was lying to her. However, After hearing Xiao Ben's words, Xiao Qinlin knew that this matter was basically true. They would know in a few days. The attitude of the hidden Yu family disciples would reveal everything. Qinlin, I've already told you in advance. As for Sun Yan, you should talk to her about the pros and cons. I believe she's a sensible child. She wouldn't do something so foolish as to send everyone to their deaths. Xiao Ben said. I understand. Xiao Qinlin said helplessly. I will talk to Sun Yan and try my best to convince her. Although Xiao Qinlin wanted to support her daughter's choice, what was the point of supporting her if she lost her life? Xiao Qinlin sighed and dialed her daughter's number. Mom! Sun Yan had been holding her phone, waiting for Xiao Qinlin's call. She picked it up immediately. How's it going? Did Uncle agree to cancel the engagement? Xi and Yen, sigh. Xiao Qinlin listened to her daughter's expectant voice and couldn't help but sigh. Things are a little complicated. Mom, what's wrong? Is it because they don't want me to cancel the engagement? Sun Yan heard her mother's unhappy tone and guessed what was going on. Her heart tightened. Yes, Sun Yan. I'm sorry, I've tried my best. But this... I really can't. Xiao Qinlin said helplessly. Mom, do we really have to listen to Uncle? Can't we make our own choices? Worst comes to worst, we'll just cut off our relationship with them. We have Lin Yi and the hidden house pie to take care of our business. It won't be too bad. Sun Yan had made up her mind, and she was very determined. Sun Yan, listen to me, I'll explain it to you slowly. Xiao Qinlin sighed and told Sun Yan everything Xiao Ben said. Sun Yan, now you know why I said it can't be done, right? The hidden house pie is strong, but can it compare to the ancient sects? If you choose Lin Yi, it's not just hurting you, it's also hurting Lin Yi. Do you want him to die? Sun Yan's mouth was wide open, shocked beyond words. Xiaolong's brother, Kang Mingming, had become the disciple of the fifth elder of the Sky Elixir sect, the future successor of the elder? Why was House Kang so lucky? Sun Yan, you're my only daughter. I don't want anything to happen to you. Xiao Qinlin continued. Sometimes, liking someone doesn't mean you have to be with them. As long as they're safe and happy, that's a type of happiness, isn't it? Mom! I understand. Sun Yan sighed softly, laughing at herself. She didn't think that her decision would die before it could be implemented. Yes, if she forced herself to be with Lin Yi, it wouldn't just hurt herself, it would hurt Lin Yi as well. Sun Yan, think about it, calm down. Xiao Qinlin didn't feel too good. If you can't think it through, then call me, okay? Sun Yan hung up quietly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Was it to mourn this withering love that hadn't even bloomed yet? Freedom of love was a luxury in a family like hers. Sun Yan didn't want to give up, but she didn't want to bring trouble to Lin Yi. After some hesitation, she dialed Shintian's number. Sun Yan, sis-in-law? Shintian blinked. He didn't expect Sun Yan to call him. Although Sun Yan had saved his number after she was kidnapped, she never called him. Shintian was a little surprised. Wu Shintian, I want to ask you something. Are ancient sects very powerful? Sun Yan asked directly. Ancient sects? Shintian paused, not knowing why Sun Yan would ask a question like this. He thought that she must have heard about it somewhere and was curious, so he answered casually. Of course they're powerful. Ancient sects are much more powerful than hidden houses. Sun Yan, sis-in-law, why are you asking this all of a sudden? Then, compared to Lin Yi? Sun Yan asked again. La 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 la. Shintian was even more taken aback. He didn't expect Sun Yan's thoughts to jump so far, comparing him to Lin Yi. He didn't want to belittle Lin Yi in front of Sun Yan, but he didn't dare boast. Boss will be even more powerful than the ancient sects in the future. Look, Boss wasn't as powerful as a common house before, and he was suppressed by House Yu. But after that, he successfully wiped out House Yu and took in all the common houses, forming the Cultivators Association. Now, he's marching towards the hidden houses. Look, the hidden House Han and House Pai have become his lackeys, and they've joined the Cultivators Association as well. So, it's only a matter of time before Boss conquers the ancient sex. I got it. Thanks. Sinyan sighed as she hung up the phone. Chapter 2394. But this kind of achievement would have been very dazzling during normal times. It wasn't something normal people could achieve, but for Sinyan, it was far from enough. The pressure from the ancient sex was simply too much. Sinyan finally understood her mother's fear. Even Lin Yi couldn't fight against them. After some hesitation, Sinyan finally made her decision. 4 years in university wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. She couldn't marry Zhaolong during that time, so she'd give Lin Yi 4 years. 4 years, she hoped that Lin Yi would be able to stand at a height even higher than the ancient sex. But from now on, in order to prevent the Sky Elixir sect from doing anything to Lin Yi, she had to keep some distance from Lin Yi, especially after Zhaolong's arrival. She'd keep this secret to herself. She didn't want to bring trouble to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi didn't reach that height in 4 years, then Sinyan would go to Xiao Xiao or Tangyan. Weren't they heirs to the ancient sex? Sinyan would rather not get married then. She didn't believe that the Sky Elixir sect would start a war with the Ice Palace or Snow Valley just because of this. After all, running away from the wedding and being with Lin Yi were two different things. Running away would only cause House Khan to lose a bit of face, but being with Lin Yi would cause them to lose a lot of face. Qin Tian looked at the phone in his hand and shook his head. He didn't know why Sinyan was calling him, asking a few random questions. Was she trying to get to know Lin Yi better? But Qin Tian didn't think much of it. He continued walking around the mall with old Pai Jishan, Pai Jihai, and his grandpa. They'd been in Lin Yi's house for a while now, and they didn't bring much luggage. Their clothes were washed and worn, and Lin Yi had people buy them for them. Today was the chance to buy some daily necessities and clothes. Lin Yi was studying Spring Rain in his room after his failure when he heard Chen Shi's voice in the living room. Lin Yi quickly walked out to see that Chen Shi had just woken up. She stood up from the sofa and looked around, her eyes filled with shock. A moment ago, Chen Shi was scavenging with Grandpa Zhu near the beach between Donghai and Songzan. For some reason, she fell asleep, and when she woke up again, she found herself lying on a sofa in a luxurious villa. Chen Shi was shocked. She remembered that there were often cases of girls being abducted on the internet and in the newspapers. She quickly checked her clothes and found that they were intact. Chen Shi felt a little strange. Who brought her here? Suddenly hearing the sound of the door opening, Chen Shi subconsciously turned her head, but what she saw was the person she yearned for day and night. Thinking about day and night? Chen Shi's face reddened. Only Ziyu knew what was on her mind. You're awake? Lin Yi knew that Chen Shi only took sleeping pills, so he wasn't too worried. Yeah, Lin Yi bro, why am I here? Chen Shi saw Lin Yi, surprised at first, but then confused. Wasn't I scavenging at the beach? You were taken away by the bad guys, and I just happened to see you, so I brought you back. Lin Yi didn't explain in detail. Lin Yi didn't want to get rid of Boss Shu just yet, and keeping him with Chen Shi was a form of protection. Lin Yi could tell that the reason why the Zhaos didn't leave after losing to Chen Shi was because they wanted to take Chen Shi away after Lin Yi, Pu Laolu, and Pu Huiti fought to the death. They didn't want anything to happen to Chen Shi. But what they didn't expect was that Lin Yi's strength was beyond their expectations. From their perspective, Pu Laolu was an Earth-class late-phase peak, and Pu Huiti was a psychic with an unknown combat ability. Even if the two of them couldn't win completely, it was still possible that they could take Lin Yi down with them. So the people who stayed there were waiting for Lin Yi to deal with Pu Laolu and Pu Huiti, and then they could secretly take Chen Shi away. But what they didn't expect was that Lin Yi killed the hidden Zhaos in one move. They didn't even have the chance to see Lin Yi kill Pu Laolu. Although Lin Yi was recovering, he still heard the boss's words clearly. The hidden Zhaos had spoken to them, which meant that they had been planning this for a long time, and Chen Shi was just a pawn. But what was the relationship between Chen Shi and the hidden Zhaos? And why would Boss Shu stay by Chen Shi's side? What about Grandpa Zhu? Chen Shi was shocked. She came out to scavenge with Grandpa Zhu, and she met the bad guys. How was Grandpa Zhu now? Did he meet the bad guys as well? Grandpa Zhu. Linny laughed coldly in his heart. He's fine. He probably sold you out, and you're still worried about him. But Linny naturally wouldn't say this to Chen Shi. He said to her, Who knows, but he should be fine. He's just an old man, he doesn't have much value. Pack up, I'll send you back to Songshan. Okay. Chen Shi was still a little worried about Grandpa Zhu, but since Linny said so, she didn't ask any more. She only nodded. I don't need to pack up, I can go now. Okay, let's go now. Linny nodded. He didn't see Meng Yao and Yushu, not knowing what they were doing. Linny sent them a text, telling them that he was sending Chen Shi back to Songshan, and left the villa with Chen Shi. Boss Zhu didn't see what happened in the casino, but he did see Linny carrying Chen Shi, Elder Pai, Pai Jishan, Pai Jihai, Wu Gonggao, Meng Yao, Yushu, and the others all in one piece. Linny had some bloodstains on him, as if he was injured, but the fact that he could carry someone meant that he was fine. Why would Elder Pai appear next to Linny? Wasn't Pai Jihai injured by the purple thunderbolt beast? Why did he appear here alive and kicking? Chapter 2395. Boss Zhu quickly called Zhao Guanyin. Young master, Linny saved Chen Shi. Although he's injured, he should be fine. He can still hold Chen Shi. What? Zhao Guanyin was shocked. Pu Laolu is an Earth-class late-phase peak, and Pu Huati is a psychic. Even they couldn't stop Linny? Looks like there's no one left. Young master, what about Chen Shi? Boss Zhu asked. You follow Linny. Go get Chen Shi back first. Your identity hasn't been exposed, so it's fine. Zhao Guanyin was angry and unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. He could only say, Wait for you to come back and think about it. Tell father and I the details. Yes. Boss Zhu quickly replied. So, as soon as Linny left the villa, he saw Boss Zhu at the door. Boss Zhu, on the other hand, pretended like he just arrived, panting and sweating. Linny! Is Lil Shi here? I've been asking around for a long time, and finally found out where you're staying. It's so hard to find. Boss Zhu's acting was quite good. Of course, he was always acting in front of Chen Shi. Grandpa Zhu, you're okay. That's great. Chen Shi was happy to see Boss Zhu. Chen Shi, Grandpa Zhu is fine. You were suddenly knocked out by a few people. Sigh, Grandpa Zhu is useless, I couldn't protect you. Boss Zhu said helplessly. It's okay, Linny Gidge saved me. Chen Shi didn't doubt Boss Zhu's words at all. Chen Shi, go back to the villa first. I want to talk to your Grandpa Zhu. Since Linny saw Boss Zhu, he wouldn't let him go so easily. Ah? Chen Shi was taken aback, but she still nodded because of her trust in Lin Yi. More importantly, she listened to Lin Yi's words. Then, I'll go back to the villa first. Chen Shi didn't know why Lin Yi was looking for Grandpa Zhu, but she didn't ask. She turned around and left. Mr. Lin Yi, thank you so much. Boss Zhu said pretentiously. All right, old Zhu, stop pretending. Let's talk in the car. Lin Yi pointed at his car and said to Boss Zhu. Ah? What do you mean, Mr. Lin Yi? Boss Zhu's heart skipped a beat, but he still pretended not to know. You know what I mean. I killed those hidden Zhao family members. Don't you want to know how they died? Lin Yi said coolly. What hidden Zhao family? I don't understand. Boss Zhu's heart skipped a beat, but he still asked with a blank face. Haha, get in the car if you don't want to die. Earth-class early phase practitioner. Lin Yi didn't say much and pointed out his level. Boss Zhu's face changed. He didn't think that Lin Yi would be able to tell what level he was. It seemed that Lin Yi really did know something, otherwise he wouldn't have said that. The fact that he was a practitioner was suspicious enough. All right. Boss Zhu's face changed. He nodded and got in the car with Lin Yi. What's your relationship with Qibing's Uncle Zhu? Are you his brother? Lin Yi already guessed that Boss Zhu was related to the hidden house Zhao. His surname was Zhu, so naturally, he connected it to Uncle Zhu. Yes, he's my brother! Boss Zhu gritted his teeth. He knew that there was no point in hiding it from Lin Yi. Lin Yi already knew his identity. Why did you run to Qinxi's side? What happened today? What was going on? Why are you guys hiding House Zhao? Lin Yi asked. I'm sorry, I have my own master. There are some things I can't say. Boss Zhu rejected. Boss Zhu refused. You and Qinxi can expose my identity, but I still can't say anything about the Zhao family. Expose you? Lin Yi looked at Boss Zhu playfully. Do you think that you'll be fine if you don't say anything? Then, what do you want? Boss Zhu's face froze. Elder Bai, I even dared to cripple you. Who do you think you are in my eyes? Lin Yi looked at Boss Zhu condescendingly. I asked you to get in the car to ask you something. Don't think I'm begging you. I can kill you any time I want. Do you believe that no one from House Zhao will stand up for you after you die? Boss Zhu started sweating. Lin Yi was right, Elder Bai was almost in a vegetative state from Lin Yi, and House Zhao didn't even dare fart. If they dared to look for trouble with Lin Yi, they wouldn't need to borrow a knife to kill him. That's right, but your master is a bit too weak. Lin Yi looked at Boss Zhu. Perhaps you'll have a better future with Zhao Qikun? Your brother Uncle Zhu might not always be a cripple. You... What do you mean? Boss Zhu's eyebrows twitched as he stared at Lin Yi. He wasn't sure of Lin Yi's intentions. Nothing, I'm just saying, Lin Yi said faintly. Wu Qintian was crippled, but now he's in Earth class early phase. Pai Jihai, that Zhao Yaowang from your house, said that he couldn't make it anymore, but isn't he fine now? Since Boss Zhu could find his way here, Lin Yi believed that Boss Zhu must have seen the hidden house Pai come out of the casino. At this point, if Boss Zhu still didn't understand what Lin Yi meant, then he'd be an idiot. Lin Yi's hint was clear. There was no future with Zhao Qibing, but there was a future with Zhao Qikuan. Not only was there a future, but there was hope for his brother's recovery. Although Uncle Zhu's injuries were serious, Boss Zhu thought that Wu Qintian and Pai Jihai's injuries were even more serious. If they were fine, then Uncle Zhu's injuries were probably nothing to Lin Yi. It wouldn't be hard for him to recover. Can I think about it? This is too important, Boss Zhu said after a moment of silence. After all, it was impossible for him to betray House Zhao. He'd been with House Zhao for so many years, and he couldn't bring himself to destroy House Zhao with Lin Yi. But to change masters and work for Qikuan, that was something he could accept. Chapter 2396. Of course, Lin Yi didn't expect Boss Zhu to agree right away. That wasn't realistic. If he agreed right away, Lin Yi would suspect that there was something wrong with him. Lin Yi didn't believe that he had some sort of king's aura that could make Boss Zhu submit right away. Wu Qingtian, Hidden House Han, and Hidden House Pai's submission all had specific conditions. Boss Zhu only talked to him once and he'd submit? That wasn't realistic. Pho! Boss Zhu let out a breath of relief and said gratefully. Thank you, what's with Chen Shi? Lin Yi asked. Chen Shi is the illegitimate daughter of the young head. I'm someone the young head arranged to be by her side. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else right now. I hope Mr. Lin can understand and don't force me, Boss Zhu said. Lin Yi could get some information from Mrs. Chen later on, so Boss Zhu didn't hide it. Oh? Lin Yi paused. He didn't expect Qin Shi to be Zhao Guangyin's illegitimate daughter? This Zhao Guangyin was pretty good at messing around when he was young. It wasn't enough that he had Zhao Qibing, but now he had an illegitimate daughter? But what surprised Lin Yi was that the daughter of House Zhao was picking up trash. House Zhao has a strong patriarchal mindset, and they're very clear on the difference between the legitimate and illegitimate sons. Boss Zhu saw Lin Yi's confusion and explained. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. It made sense now. This was most likely the reason why Zhao Qikuan wasn't valued. Zhao Qibing was the son of Zhao Guangyin, the young head of the house. Even if it was passed down, it would be his son who would be the heir, not Zhao Qiqun. Thinking of Zhao Qiqun, Linny asked. How's Zhao Qiqun now? Zhao Qiqun, at the Hidden House Summit, he wanted to call Mr. Lin and tell him that Zhao Qibing's car was modified, but he was caught red-handed and is now under house arrest. Boss Zhu didn't hide it, these things weren't too important. Qiqun would tell Lin Yi about it when the Sky Elixir School's test was held, so Boss Zhu was just telling him first. He's under house arrest. Lin Yi was very surprised. He didn't think that Qiqun would be locked up because of him. It seemed like Qiqun had truly accepted him as his boss, or else he wouldn't be like this. This surprised Lin Yi. But after knowing this, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore Zhao Qiqun. He was locked up because of him, and this time, he was going to the Sky Elixir School's test. It seemed like House Zhao wanted to use this chance to get rid of him. Mr. Lin, I can't do anything about this. I can't interfere with House Zhao's business. Boss Zhu thought that Lin Yi wanted his help, so he explained bitterly. It's fine, just tell him to go to the test in peace. I'll take care of everything, Lin Yi said. That's easy. Boss Zhu nodded. This was something he could do. About the hidden house pie, don't talk about it, they're all dead anyway, there's no evidence, Lin Yi said faintly. Whatever you want to make up later, that's up to you. Alright. Boss Zhu sighed. He didn't say anything yet, but he was already on Lin Yi's boat. But what else could he do if he didn't agree? If Lin Yi wanted to kill him and Uncle Zhu, he could do it with a wave of his hand. No one could protect him, so he had to give in. Qinshi, I'll leave her to you, I don't want anything to happen to her, Lin Yi said with an unquestionable tone. If anything happens, you'll be in trouble too. I understand, Boss Zhu quickly replied. Alright, since you're here, you can take Qinshi back, Lin Yi said. He wasn't worried anymore. You know what to do, right? I know. Boss Zhu nodded helplessly. After getting off the car with Boss Zhu, Lin Yi went back to the villa and saw Qinshi sitting on the sofa alone, not watching TV or reading magazines, just sitting there like a fool. It wasn't that Qinshi didn't want to, but suddenly staying in such a luxurious villa made her feel uncomfortable and restricted. She didn't dare touch anything in the villa. Qinshi, since your grandpa Zhu is here to pick you up, you can go back with him. I won't be sending you off, Lin Yi said. Okay. Qinshi was a bit disappointed. She actually wanted Lin Yi to send her back so she could spend more time with Lin Yi, but she didn't dare say it out loud. She could only nod. Study hard when you get back, and don't always pick up trash. If you don't have money, asking Ziyu for it. Lin Yi didn't want Qinshi to be distracted by these things. Yeah, Ziyu said, but evidently wasn't going to do that. Lin Yi didn't have a choice. Qinshi and Ziyu were close, but Qinshi wouldn't use Ziyu's money. After sending Qinshi and Boss Zhu off, Lin Yi looked at the time. It was still early, and he was about to ask Meng Yao and Yushu what was going on when Lin Yi got a call from Lingshan. Silly girl, your call really came at the right time. Lingshan's call came in just as Lin Yi was done with the things he had on hand. Why are you calling me silly girl again? Lingshan felt a little familiar with the way he called her. She remembered that Lin Yi hadn't called her that in a while, and hearing it now gave her a strange feeling. I just remembered, so I called you that. Lin Yi thought back to when he first met Lingshan, feeling a little emotional. In the blink of an eye, they were all from Songshan to Dahai City. You miss me? Lingshan's voice started to sound a little sweet and coquettish. A little. Lin Yi didn't deny it. It had been a long time since he last saw Lingshan, and seeing her today made him feel a sense of closeness. It was just that Lingshan had a case to deal with, so Lin Yi didn't talk to her much. Ha, real or fake, I'm pretty happy. Lingshan was a little surprised. It's just a simple thing between friends, Lin Yi added. Can't you just add that last part? Lingshan said, a little discouraged. There are different types of friends. Lin Yi sweated. He didn't expect Lingshan to react this strongly. Alright, if that's the case, can you help me look into the kidnapping case? Lingshan felt a little better. Chapter 2397. I got this case as soon as I came to Donghai, and I went to the police station yesterday to look at the fake Lin Yi's file. According to Chintian, the kidnappers were very similar to the fake Lin Yi. They were the type of people who had no intelligence and weren't afraid of death, or rather, people who had their brains destroyed and hypnotized. Lingshan said. Oh? Lin Yi paused. He hadn't had the time to ask about the details yet, but now that Lingshan was talking about it, he did feel that the two cases were quite similar, and he subconsciously thought of one person. He remembered what he saw at the Hidden House Summit. This kidnapper, and that fake Lin Yi, weren't they similar to the contestants in Mingwei brought? No wonder Lin Yi felt that this person looked familiar back then. The person Li Biaohun had found was similar to this type of person. It should be the firewolves. Lin Yi guessed, and the firewolves were the first people he thought of. Firewolves? Lingshan frowned. Naturally, she'd heard of the firewolves before. The firewolves weren't any weaker than the ancient sections. They were a gang, but other than being notorious, they didn't have any solid evidence. The police couldn't do anything to them. More importantly, the number of practitioners they had was enough to fight against the ancient sections. Normal people wouldn't be able to touch them. It's just a guess, Lin Yi said. But it's very possible that it's Jiang Wen's doing. Of course, in the end, the person you catch might be a small fry that the firewolves used as a scapegoat. Don't hold too much hope. It's good that we have a direction. Lingshan sighed. Of course, she knew what Lin Yi was talking about. If this was really done by the firewolves, then the firewolves wouldn't have left any evidence behind. This could be seen from the fake Lin Yi that they captured. Come to my villa when you're free. I'll give you a small chi-gathering pill. You'll be able to advance to the early phase of Earth class after you take it. It'll be good for your daily work, Lin Yi said. East Ocean City is not like Songzhan City. The level of the cultivators here is obviously higher than Songzhan City. All right, I'll go get it after I'm done here, Lingshan said. Thanks. Oh, why are you thanking me? Lin Yi smiled. Lingshan's heart warmed, and she happily hung up the phone. But then she thought about the firewolves, and her head hurt again. Donghai, Jiang Wen's villa. This was the third time Xiao Chun called Lei Daming. Lei Daming, is your money ready or not? Our patience is limited. If we don't see the money in an hour, we can only say sorry, Xiao Chun said coldly through the voice changer. I really don't have money, Lei Daming said with a sad face. It's not that I don't want to pay, but I'm no longer the chairman of the Merchant Association. The Hidden House Zhao doesn't let me manage the business in Donghai anymore. They sent me to Jituan City to manage the business. You don't know how to ask for money from the Hidden House? Xiao Chun naturally didn't care about his excuses. 1 hour. If you don't have the money, I'll kill you. Then Xiao Chun hung up the phone, ignoring Lei Daming's crying. But after hanging up, Xiao Chun changed his violent attitude and said respectfully, Master Wen, what Lei Daming said is true. He really doesn't have the money. I've asked around, and the chairman of the Donghai Merchant Association has been changed to an outsider called Pingzhan. What? Changed to Pingzhan? Jiang Wen froze. Yeah, why don't we kidnap Pingzhan's daughter and extort some money from him? Xiao Chun suggested. Of course, he was new here, and didn't know about the relationship between Jiang Wen, Pingzhan, and Meng Yao. Xiao Chun, don't talk nonsense. Scorpion knew about Jiang Wen's situation. He glared at Xiao Chun. Shut up. Forget it, Scorpion, he doesn't know. Jiang Wen waved his hand. He didn't blame Xiao Chun. I've been chasing after Pingzhan's daughter. If I kidnap her and she finds out about it, I won't have a chance. It seemed like Jiang Wen didn't have much of a chance now, but he still had a sliver of hope. I'm sorry, Master Wen. Xiao Chun jumped in fright. He made a mental note that he couldn't offend this Pingzhan. But what about Lei Daming's daughter? Kill her if she doesn't pay for an hour. Jiang Wen said coldly. Let's make an example out of her. It's not easy for us to kidnap her, and if she doesn't pay, we won't let her off easy. Mark the price clearly and honestly. All right. Xiao Chun nodded. An hour later, Lei Daming didn't pay the ransom, so Scorpion killed Lei Daming's daughter and left her body in the wilderness. He told Xiao Chun to call Lei Daming to identify the body. In a garbage dump in the suburbs of Donghai, a couple of police cars had their lights flashing. Ling Shan, Lu Wangli, and the others were standing beside a woman's body. The other police officers were cordoning off the area. Lei Daming was crying on the ground. He didn't think that the kidnappers would really kill his daughter. Ling Shan felt that the kidnappers were too arrogant, but she didn't really sympathize with Lei Daming. This guy was a dog of House Zhao, and when he was the chairman of Donghai Commerce, he worked with some local businessmen to bully and chase away foreign investors, turning Donghai business into a mess. Now that he was abandoned by House Zhao, and his daughter was killed by the kidnappers, he was reaping what he sowed. But, as bad as Lei Daming was, the case had to be solved. After investigating the scene, Ling Shan brought Lu Wangli to Hao Sen's villa in Donghai. Since Lin Yi said that this might have something to do with Jiang Wen from the Firewolves, Ling Shan naturally had to go and investigate. When Ling Shan arrived at the villa, Jiang Wen wasn't at home. Only Jiang Wen's father and Mingwe was there. "Mr. N, I'm Ling Shan from Donghai's criminal investigation team. This is my ID." Ling Shan handed the ID to N Mingwe. Ling Shan and N Mingwe weren't strangers, but Ling Shan still had to be professional. Chapter 2398. "Mr. N, is Jiang Wen home? We have something we need to talk to him about." Ling Shan got straight to the point. "Oh? You're looking for Jiang Wen? He's not home." "What's the matter?" And Mingwei asked calmly. "Where is he?" "We're looking for him to cooperate with the investigation," Ling Shan said. "I see. Why don't I call him and ask him to come back?" And Mingwei saw that Ling Shan wasn't going to say anything, and after some hesitation, he dialed Jiang Wen's number and told him everything that happened. Of course, he didn't say anything unnecessary. He believed that Jiang Wen would understand what he was trying to say. Jiang Wen, naturally, understood what his father was hinting at, but he didn't understand how Ling Shan could have gotten here so quickly. Jiang Wen was confident that he'd done everything perfectly, and there wasn't any evidence left. Ling Shan probably didn't come here through evidence. Still, Jiang Wen went back to the villa immediately and greeted Ling Shan warmly. "Officer Song, you were looking for me?" "Jiang Wen, you're familiar with the recent kidnapping cases, right?" Ling Shan asked straightforwardly. Normal methods wouldn't work on people like Jiang Wen. "Kidnapping cases? I've heard of it, but no one from Haosen was kidnapped?" As expected, Jiang Wen looked at Ling Shan innocently. "Jiang Wen, I'll cut to the chase. Linny asked me to find you. The Firewolf gang's research on these people that are similar to practitioners. Don't tell me you have nothing to do with it." Ling Shan wasn't just beating around the bush with Jiang Wen. Someone like him wouldn't admit anything no matter what. So, Ling Shan decided to ask him directly. Jiang Wen didn't expect Ling Shan to ask like this, especially since it was Lin Yi who asked her to come. His face changed. He wanted to deny it subconsciously, but he knew that he couldn't. Lin Yi probably knew about the things he had done, such as kidney removal, underground boxing, bank robbery, etc. However, Lin Yi did not have any evidence, and Lin Yi probably could not be bothered with him for the time being. But this time, Lin Yi had personally instructed Ling Shan to come to him. Evidently, Lin Yi wasn't happy with the kidnapping. Jiang Wen frowned. He seemed to have offended Lin Yi a little too much recently, especially after Ping Zhen's car accident. Lin Yi didn't like him at all. He remembered what his father said about Lin Yi's feat at the Hidden House Summit. Jiang Wen hesitated, but decided to give in. His position in the Firewolf gang was indeed very high, but didn't the Firewolf gang's law protector similarly admit defeat in front of Lin Yi? Plus, Lin Yi's performance at the Hidden House Summit could only be described as shocking. Even those Sky-class masters didn't dare to make a move, so how could Jiang Wen fight against Lin Yi? And so, Jiang Wen decided to give in. "Is that so? But Officer Song, you know that I may be the person in charge of the Firewolf gang in Donghai, but some of my men might use our practitioners to do bad things for their own selfish reasons. I didn't pay attention to it before, but since Officer Song reminded me, it seems like I've overlooked it. Don't worry, Officer Song, I'll investigate the people in our group, and those who have the qualifications to use those practitioners, I'll investigate them one by one. If it really was one of our men involved in the kidnapping, then I won't go easy on him. I'll bring him to you personally. I hope so. Ling Shan nodded. This wasn't the result she wanted, but it was still a victory in comparison. Jiang Wen gave in. The person he handed over might be a small fry, but it was better than nothing. Of course, Ling Shan knew that the Lin Yi in her words had an effect. Jiang Wen was obviously afraid of Lin Yi, and that was why he was trying to shirk the responsibility. Otherwise, there was no way Jiang Wen would give in without any evidence at all. Ling Shan didn't say much and left with Lu Wangli. She knew that the kidnapping case would be solved soon, but the real culprit was still in hiding. The Fire Wolf Gang, also known as Fire Wolf Group, was the real culprit behind all this. Fuck. We just made some money, and Lin Yi's here to cause trouble. Jiang Wen was furious after Ling Shan left. Jiang Wen, Lin Yi has a big grudge with us. With the current situation, it really isn't a good time to have a conflict. And Minghua said, let's stop the kidnapping for now. Okay. Jiang Wen was angry, but he knew that he couldn't do the kidnapping business anymore. It seemed like he had to focus on other businesses. Boss Shu sent Qin Shi back first before returning to Donghai City. He went to Gambling Bros Casino first and learned about the situation from him. Of course, this was to make it easier for him to lie when he got back. He mainly wanted to test how much Gambling Bro knew. But now, it seemed like Gambling Bro didn't know much. He didn't see how Pu Laolu and Pu Huati died, and he didn't know Old Pai's real identity. This made Boss Shu sigh in relief. After Boss Shu returned, the first thing the Hidden House Zhao did was call for a family meeting. Boss Shu followed Lin Yi's orders and blamed the whole thing on Lin Yi, but didn't mention the Hidden House Pai. As for the reason why the Zhaos were killed by Lin Yi, it was because of the casino. Boss Shu said that the boss of the casino sold out the Hidden House Zhao's identity. Of course, Boss Shu was reversing the sequence. Gambling Bro did sell out the Hidden House Zhao, but he did it after, not before. As for the reason why Lin Yi suspected those people, it was because Lin Yi saw through Boss Shu's strength. Naturally, Boss Shu wouldn't say it out loud. If House Zhao knew that he was exposed, he'd probably be sent back to the Hidden House. He wouldn't be able to stay by Qin Shi's side, and he wouldn't have a good ending either. I didn't think that Lin Yi was this strong, killing Pu Huati and his bodyguards. Old Zhao was shocked. This Lin Yi wasn't weak at all. No wonder he was so arrogant during the Hidden House Summit, saying that he had the strength to fight Sky Class. Chapter 2399. But now, he was venting his anger on the casino. But before old Zhao could say anything, Guanyin spoke up. Father, this casino owner is a two-faced scoundrel. He's not a good person. How dare he betray our hidden house? If we don't teach him a lesson, he won't know who the boss of Donghai is. Yes, of course we'll teach the casino a lesson, but we'll have to wait until this blows over. Old Zhao waved his hand. At least wait until the news of Pu Huati and Pu Laolio's deaths reach Southeast Asia. We'll go to their sects and let them know who killed their disciples. If we do it now and they blame it on us, it won't be worth it. Lin Yi is a sly bastard, he's capable of anything. Yes, father! Guanyin had wanted to attack the casino right away, but his father's words made sense. If they did it now, what if Pu Huati and Pu Laolio's deaths were blamed on them? Grandpa! That Lin Yi is so strong, Zhao Qikun! It was finally Qibing's turn to speak. He wasn't interested in taking revenge on the casino, he was worried about Qikun. If Qikun got Lin Yi's support, then who could stop him if he wanted to take over? Father, Zhao Qikun must be removed. Guanyin hesitated before suggesting. Haze! Old Zhao sighed. He thought that if they could get rid of Lin Yi, then even if Qikun didn't die, he wouldn't be able to do much. He'd be kicked out of House Zhao and become a normal rich man. But now, it seemed like he had to get rid of him, or there'd be endless trouble in the future. Head, Zhao Qikun is still a bit against the idea of joining the test, but if we tell him that Lin Yi is joining as well, then maybe he'll go willingly, Elder Zhu suggested. Oh? Old Master Zhao pondered for a moment, then nodded his head and said, All right, go tell him. I won't see him. Old Zhao had made up his mind, but he was still a little emotional. Boss Zhu felt a little smug. He'd said this to get in touch with Qikun, and as expected, the mission had fallen to him. This was because he had already calculated that old Master Zhao was a little sad and probably wouldn't go. Qibing and Qikun, on the other hand, were enemies. Qikun might not believe his words. Since Zhao Guanyin was Zhao Qibing's father, it wasn't suitable for him to do such a thing, so after he suggested it, it naturally fell onto his shoulders. It could be said that it was logical. Yes. Boss Zhu quickly responded. Unknowingly, Boss Zhu also realized that he had already boarded Lin Yi's pirate ship. It was impossible for him to leave. This was already destined from the moment Lin Yi discovered his identity. Therefore, although Boss Zhu was reluctant, he had no other choice. Luckily, helping Qikun was also helping House Zhao. It was just two different factions, so Boss Zhu didn't feel too much of a burden. They came to Qikun's room and knocked. Boss Zhu pushed the door open and walked in. Qikun was sitting on the bed with his eyes closed, practicing. He didn't open his eyes when he heard the door open. Put the food on the table, I'll eat later. These days, there had been people delivering food to him every day. He was used to it. There were masters guarding his door, and even with his strength, he wouldn't be able to escape. Qikun was too lazy to run. As for the food, Qikun didn't worry at all. Hidden House Zhao wanted to get rid of him, but they wouldn't do something like poison. Houses had rules, and if they did something like that in the future, people would start using poison in the fight for the head of the house, and then Hidden House Zhao would be wiped out. So, to get rid of Qikun, they had to use the Sky Elixir School's test. Qikun had seen through the truth these days. He had accepted his fate. Qikun, someone told me to tell you don't worry and go to the test. Boss Zhu lowered his voice and whispered to Qikun. Ah? Qikun opened his eyes abruptly and looked at Boss Zhu, confused. He wasn't a stranger to Boss Zhu, but he had always been Qibing's follower. Now that he came over and said something like this, Qikun didn't know what was going on. But Boss Zhu didn't continue the topic. The head of the house told me to tell you that Lin Yi is participating in the Sky Elixir test as well. Qikun frowned as he looked at Boss Zhu, a little surprised. He couldn't tell which side Boss Zhu was on right now. If he was one of Zhao Qibing's people, then there wouldn't be a problem with the second sentence. In order to let him participate in the test, he wouldn't reject it, so he told him this information. In fact, Qikun knew that this was Qibing's plan to get him to join the test willingly. It was an overt scheme. But what Boss Zhu said in a low voice when he just came to the room was worth considering. Who did he say that on behalf of? Shu Boss you? Qikun frowned, unsure of what to say. I don't want to die. Boss Zhu only said this and left the room. Don't want to die. Qikun paused, but he wasn't an idiot. He quickly realized the connection between the two. The first one, Boss Zhu was speaking for someone, and the second one was speaking for the head of the house, Elder Zhao. Since the first person was able to say something that made him feel at ease, it didn't need to be said who this person was. In addition to the two words, Lin Yi, in the second sentence, Zhao Qibing was sure that Lin Yi was the one who told Boss Zhu to bring him a message. And the reason why Boss Zhu gave him was simple: he was afraid of death. This made sense. After thinking about it, Qikun, who had been depressed for so long, couldn't help but feel excited. It seemed like Boss Zhu hadn't forgotten about him. His act of sending him a message had paid off. Lin Yi must have found out about him through some other channel, so he told Boss Zhu to bring him this message. Like this, Qikun didn't really mind joining the Sky Elixir sex test. He'd just see it as training with Lin Yi. After Lin Yi ended the call, he went to Han Jingjing's villa next door. Chapter 2400. That method. I don't think it'll work. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He wanted to try it again, but Qin Shi woke up before he could, and then Boss Shu came and Ling Shan called, so Lin Yi didn't try spring rain again. Now that Han Jingjing mentioned it again, Lin Yi didn't want to give up and decided to try again. It's not working. Han Jingjing was a little disappointed, but she still said, It's okay. I believe Lin Yi bro can think of other ways. If it really doesn't work, I won't make second-level elixirs in batches. Let's try again, Lin Yi said. Let's go to your room now. Okay. Han Jingjing listened to Lin Yi's words. The two came to Han Jingjing's room, and Han Jingjing asked, Do you need me to do anything to help Lin Yi bro? No need, just wait on the side. Lin Yi shook his head. Oh, okay. Han Jingjing nodded. After that, he started channeling the chant for Sky's spring rain and tried activating the first form. But suddenly, a miracle happened. On Lin Yi's hands, a light blue mist of pure energy suddenly appeared, and as Lin Yi activated the technique, the light blue energy suddenly left Lin Yi's hands, floating in the air, and then fell like spring rain, entering Han Jingjing's body. This situation made Lin Yi a little stunned. He had been failing before, and suddenly it worked, which made Lin Yi feel like it was unrealistic. It worked just like that. Lin Yi was a little surprised. Huh! Lin Yi bro, is this the method you created? It's very effective. Jingjing feels a lot more energetic. Han Jingjing was also very surprised and impressed. If Lin Yi bro used this method when I was making elixirs, you can indeed replenish Jingjing's pure energy and stamina. You feel it? Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect that the martial skill that he had failed to activate before would suddenly succeed in front of Han Jingjing. Why did Lin Yi feel that this was unrealistic? Yeah, I can feel it. Why did Brother Lin Yi say that this method is ineffective? Han Jingjing asked curiously. But Jingjing feels that it is effective. It's working this time. Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. Previously, when I was at home, I tried to activate this martial skill, but it didn't work. Why didn't you succeed? Is it because Jingjing isn't around? Han Jingjing blinked and asked doubtfully. Not beside me? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, but then he felt a sense of enlightenment. That's right, the reason why he didn't succeed in activating this martial technique before was because Han Jingjing wasn't beside him. In other words, there was no recipient. The basic function of this auxiliary martial technique was to replenish the physical strength and true qi of the people on his side, but there was no one on his side. Lin Yi activated the martial technique against the air. How could he activate it without a recipient? After figuring this out, Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. It was really a wake-up call. Yeah, Jingjing, you weren't beside me before. This martial technique of mine can only be activated when there's a recipient on my side. There is no one here, so of course, I can't activate it. After Lin Yi figured this out, he was a little excited and surprised. It seemed that it wasn't that he couldn't activate the water martial technique, but he just didn't figure it out before. And Brother Lin Yi is really smart. You figured out the key to the problem in an instant. Han Jingjing nodded and said, Jingjing didn't think of it. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's sincere face. He was a little embarrassed and ashamed. If Han Jingjing didn't remind him, Lin Yi would really ignore this point. However, Han Jingjing put the credit on his head, which made Lin Yi feel very embarrassed. However, looking at Han Jingjing's big watery and innocent eyes, Lin Yi found it hard to imagine that Han Jingjing was deliberately complimenting him. After coughing twice, Lin Yi said, Let's start to study alchemy and see if we can refine second-grade medicinal pills in batches. Okay. Han Jingjing nodded. Like before, I'll simulate alchemy? And let's simulate it first. For the sake of insurance, Lin Yi let Han Jingjing simulate it first. Otherwise, if it failed, it would be a waste of materials. Okay. Han Jingjing took the cauldron and asked after preparing, Can we start, Brother Lin Yi? Yes, let's start. Lin nodded and began to circulate the spring rain martial technique. Han Jingjing began to condense the alchemy fire and prepared to simulate alchemy. Soon, Han Jingjing's alchemy fire was condensed, and then she began to simulate alchemy. It could be seen that Han Jingjing's physical strength and true qi were consumed very quickly. After a while, her forehead was covered with fine sweat. As for Lin Yi, he was ready to start urging the spring rain martial technique to replenish Han Jingjing's true qi and physical strength. This time, Lin Yi did not urge the first style of the spring rain martial technique, but he did not urge the second style either. Because he roughly judged the speed of the consumption of true qi in Han Jingjing's body, he urged the third style of the spring rain martial technique. Whether it was the first style or the third style, there was not much difference for Lin Yi. According to the description of the spring rain martial technique, the first style of the spring rain martial technique could transfer true qi to one person, the second style could transfer true qi to two people, the third style could transfer true qi to three people, and so on. Now, there was only Han Jingjing beside Lin Yi. Using the third style was equivalent to transferring 3 portions of true qi to Han Jingjing at the same time. However, even if it was the fifth style, the total amount of true qi in Lin Yi's body was fixed. So whether it was the first style, the second style, or the fifth style, it was just that the true qi in Lin Yi's body was divided into several portions. The amount transferred each time was different, but the final sum was the same. Although Lin Yi had not really urged the third style of the spring rain martial technique before, according to Lin Yi's guess, the speed of releasing true qi in the third style should be about the same as the speed at which Han Jingjing's physical strength was consumed. Sure enough, after Lin Yi urged the third style of the spring rain martial technique, Han Jingjing's physical strength and true qi were quickly replenished. At this moment, Lin Yi was surprised to find that he could actually see the amount of true qi left in Han Jingjing's body. Chapter 2401. When Lin Yi healed Wu Qingtian, Pai Zhihai, and the others, he could directly feel the amount of qi in their bodies, but that was because the two of them were in direct contact. But now, he and Han Jingjing didn't have any contact, they were only connected through martial arts. So Lin Yi didn't know whether it was because the martial arts had this ability, or because the martial arts connected the two of them. Lin Yi's golden finger worked again, but no matter what, this was a good thing for Lin Yi, because Lin Yi could see Han Jingjing's physical condition in real time. Han Jingjing's body kept absorbing the qi that Lin Yi sent over, and the spring rain arts kept circulating in Lin Yi's body, and as long as Lin Yi didn't stop, the qi would be continuously sent into Han Jingjing's body. But Lin Yi soon realized that the third form of spring rain wasn't enough to keep up with Han Jingjing's consumption. Although it looked like Lin Yi was constantly replenishing Han Jingjing's energy, the rate of replenishment wasn't enough to keep up with the consumption. It just looked like the consumption was much slower. Han Jingjing really felt a lot more relaxed, and the qi in her body seemed to be endless. She could also calm down when she condensed the Dan fire, and didn't have to worry about her physical strength and qi running out at any time. It could be said that this time's pill concoction simulation was very successful. If it was according to the usual pill concoction progress, at this time, there would be signs of physical exhaustion, and it wouldn't be as full as it was now. But while she was happy, Han Jingjing quickly realized the problem, and that was, although Lin Yi's qi was constantly being sent over, it couldn't keep up with the consumption, and the transfer was not as fast as the consumption. Lin Yi bro, can you speed up the qi transfer a little? Han Jingjing felt this and quickly asked Lin Yi. Yes, Lin Yi said, and stopped the third form, and started the fourth form of spring rain. The amount of innate qi transmitted by the fourth form was obviously much more than that of the third form, and Han Jingjing's worries were solved. She then continued to refer to the data on the tablet for alchemy. Lin Yi did not expect that refining so many dawn would require so much physical strength and innate qi. If he were to refine higher level dawn, how much innate qi and physical strength would he need? No wonder alchemists were so arrogant, and did not easily refine pills for others. Refining a pill consumes a lot of true qi and physical strength. Although the alchemist's mantra is special and can naturally restore true qi and physical strength in a short period of time, it also varies from person to person. Han Jingjing was a special case. She could recover her innate qi and physical strength in a very short period of time, but this was also because her level was relatively low. If it was a heaven stage alchemist, refining a tier 3 Dan, it would probably take a very long time to recover. And the more time passed, the more Lin Yi felt this way. Because, very soon, all the innate qi in Lin Yi's body was transferred to Han Jingjing, and he directly became a powerless cultivator without innate qi. Although Han Jingjing's alchemy continued, the innate qi in her body was also consumed very quickly. Feeling that Lin Yi's innate qi was no longer continuously transmitted, Han Jingjing was slightly stunned, but she roughly calculated the remaining time on the tablet. Her physical strength and innate qi should be able to support until the end of the simulation alchemy. Finally, Han Jingjing's simulation alchemy ended, but even if it was a simulation alchemy, the amount of innate qi consumed was the same as the normal alchemy. In the end, Han Jingjing's body had less than 1/3 of the innate qi and physical strength left. Phew! It's finally over! Han Jingjing wiped the sweat on her forehead, and then asked with some joy. Big brother Lin Yi, why did you stop transmitting innate qi halfway? All the innate qi in my body has been given to you, there's not a bit left. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Is that so? Han Jingjing nodded. But fortunately, there is enough innate qi. I still have some left in my body. If the two of us cooperate, we can refine multiple second-grade pills at once. That's true, Lin Yi said. Oh right, if you want to refine a third-grade pill, how much innate qi do you need? If you only refine one, will the two of us have enough innate qi? It shouldn't be enough. Han Jingjing shook her head. When I was free, I also calculated that the innate qi needed to refine a third-grade pill is at least 5 times the innate qi needed to refine a second-grade pill. 5 times. Lin Yi sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that non-heaven stage masters could not refine it, because the consumption of innate qi was too huge. Lin Yi could only temporarily dispel this unrealistic idea. If refining a third-grade pill was equal to the sum of 2 people's innate qi, or slightly more than the sum of 2 people's innate qi, Lin Yi could accept it. After all, after Lin Yi's innate qi was used up, Han Jingjing still had a lot of innate qi in her body. Lin Yi could take advantage of Han Jingjing's innate qi consumption to quickly restore his innate qi with the art of dragon mastery, but this method could not be used continuously. Because Han Jingjing's innate qi could only last once, when Lin Yi's recovered innate qi was used up again, Han Jingjing would have no innate qi to support her, and the process would stop and fail. According to Han Jingjing, after refining a second-grade pill, she was a bit exhausted, which meant that her physical strength was basically only enough to refine 1 second-grade pill, and Lin Yi's innate qi and her own innate qi was only 3 times. Even if Lin Yi's innate qi was a bit more than Han Jingjing's, but the amount of innate qi a mid-stage peak Earth-class master and an early-stage Earth-class master had was not much different. After all, there would be a world of difference in the amount of essential qi after crossing a truly large level, but the difference between small levels would not be that great. So it was impossible to reach 5 times, unless there was someone like Lin Yi next to her to continue using heavenly rain to support Han Jingjing's pill refining. Lin Yi could not think of any other solution for now. Chapter 2402. It's fine, we'll talk about that later. Lin Yi laughed at himself after hearing Han Jingjing's words. He really was thinking too much. Han Jingjing couldn't even control a third-level refinement fire right now. What use would it be even if she had enough qi? Yeah, but I'll try my best to simplify the third-level refinement fire and see if I can change the intensity and temperature of the refinement fire, Han Jingjing said. Let's recover our qi first, and then try to mass-produce second-level pills. We'll see if it works, Lin Yi said. All right. Han Jingjing nodded. Lin Yi and Han Jingjing were quite familiar with each other now, and he didn't hold back. He held Han Jingjing's hand and checked her pulse, activating the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to replenish her qi. On the second floor of Lin Yi's villa, Meng Yao and Yushu were lying on the bed, discussing Lin Yi and Sun Yan's future plans. What did Sun Yan mean by leaving today? Meng Yao couldn't understand why Sun Yan would reject Lin Yi. Wasn't she close with Lin Yi? Meng Yao nudged Shu with her foot. Hey, aren't you almighty Shu? Tell me, what's going on? Maybe Sun Yan sis is playing hard to get? Yushu said after some thought. Playing hard to get? No way, right? Meng Yao frowned, rejecting the suggestion. Can't you come up with something constructive? Oh, then why aren't you with Shield Bro Yao Yao? Yushu asked. Because. Hey, this is Sun Yan's problem. What does it have to do with me? Meng Yao realized that she'd almost fallen for Yushu's trick again. Actually, Shu thinks that Sun Yan sis is the same as Yao Yao sis, shy, or maybe it's a little too sudden. Yushu said. Those are the only reasons. Like Yao Yao, you like Shield Bro too, but didn't you drag it out until now? Ahem. Shu, can you not change the subject? Meng Yao glared at her. Alright, actually the simplest way is for Sister Yao Yao to give Sister Sun Yan a call. Wouldn't you know? It's better than us guessing here, right? Yushu said. That's a good idea. Meng Yao nodded. She picked up her phone and dialed Sun Yan's number. Ever since Sun Yan hung up the call with her mother, she'd been sitting on her bed with her phone in her hand. She didn't even want to read, and she didn't want to play with her tablet either. Her heart was heavy, and it was only when her phone rang that she jumped up. Sun Yan hesitated when she saw the caller ID. Should she pick it up or not? Meng Yao must be calling to ask about how he didn't respond to Lin Yi's confession, but how was he going to explain it? It was impossible for her to tell the truth. Sun Yan knew Lin Yi's personality. If she told the truth, it'd put too much pressure on Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi was studying pill-making with Han Jingjing every day for Xiao Xiao, and the reason why he worked so hard to level up was also for Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao alone was enough to put a mountain of pressure on Lin Yi, and if she was added to the mix, would he even be able to breathe? The Ice Palace thing was still manageable. It didn't matter if Lin Yi could make the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill they needed or not, the Ice Palace would never become Lin Yi's enemy. But the Sky Elixir sect was different. If she told the truth, how would Lin Yi face it? Sun Yan didn't want Lin Yi to worry about these things. After some hesitation, Sun Yan pressed the call button and picked it up. Yao Yao, Sun Yan, you don't like Lin Yi today? Meng Yao didn't know what to say, so she decided to get straight to the point. Yao Yao, I have a fiancé, so I can't be with Lin Yi. Sun Yan gritted her teeth and hardened her heart. Fiancé? You mean Kang Daolong? Meng Yao knew about Sun Yan and House Kang, but from her point of view, House Kang was already a thing of the past. Even the hidden House Pai, the Xiao family's backing, was now Lin Yi's follower. What else could Sun Yan not agree to? Yeah. I have to follow my parents' orders, Sun Yan said. So you're going to marry Daolong? Meng Yao was a little confused by Sun Yan's words. You don't look like someone that stubborn, do you? I don't want to put my parents in a difficult position, and I'm the one who agreed to this. Yao Yao, please don't force me, I'm begging you. Sun Yan smiled bitterly. You. Meng Yao was stunned by Sun Yan's words. She thought that Sun Yan left because she was shy, but it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. Sun Yan had other reasons that she couldn't talk about. Yao Yao, I told you, Lin Yi and I are just friends, really. Sun Yan's heart was bleeding when she said this. She was very sure of her feelings now. She liked Lin Yi, and she liked being with him. Just today, when Lin Yi confessed to her, Sun Yan almost said yes. Even when she walked out of the villa, Sun Yan still wanted to turn around and accept Lin Yi's confession. But the last phone call from her mother extinguished Wang Sun Yan's heart. But I can tell that Lin Yi needs you when he's training. Meng Yao wasn't willing to give up. She didn't believe that Sun Yan didn't like Lin Yi. Meng Yao's intuition as a woman allowed her to sense Sun Yan's feelings most of the time, but she didn't know why Sun Yan wouldn't admit it. I won't get married while I'm in university. Sun Yan hesitated. Isn't it good for me and Lin Yi to be good friends during this time? Good friends. Meng Yao smiled bitterly and said helplessly. Then I'll ask you one last time. Do you like Linny? My phone's out of battery. Xin Yan quickly hung up and turned off her phone. She couldn't say something she didn't want to say, not even if she wanted to. Say that she didn't like Linny? That would be lying to herself, and so Xin Yan chose to avoid it. Meng Yao held the phone in her hand, speechless. She didn't expect Xin Yan to say this at the end. This result meant that there was no result. She asked for nothing. Chapter 2403. Yao Yao sis, I think Xian Yen sis has her own difficulties. Is she being forced to marry by her family? I don't think so. After all, the Xiao family is a thing of the past. Their support is Lin Yi's men. What's there for her to worry about? Meng Yao shook her head and denied Yishu's opinion. I don't know. Maybe she's a conservative girl. She doesn't want to break the promise after agreeing to the marriage. Yushu thought about it, and couldn't think of another answer. Maybe. Meng Yao sighed. If that's the case, Lin Yi will be very disappointed. It's okay. We can continue with the beauty-chasing plan. Yushu didn't care. As long as we help, we should be able to change her mind. I hope so. Meng Yao nodded and didn't say anything else. The two of them started watching a movie on the tablet. This was how they spent their time when Lin Yi wasn't home. Even the restless Shu had been cooped up at home, afraid of causing trouble for Lin Yi. She didn't dare go out casually, so Meng Yao didn't reprimand her for going to the casino to vent her frustrations. If it was before, she would have taught her a lesson. Winning money at the casino was just looking for trouble. It wasn't like her family didn't have money. Although it was wrong of the casino not to pay up, if it wasn't for Lin Yi, she wouldn't be able to get the money back. She might even be dragged out of the casino by the security guards. Meng Yao, on the other hand, felt quite liberated at the thought this gamble bro was a bully, after all. He'd been acting all high and mighty before Lin Yi had even arrived, acting as if victory was already in his grasp. What could Lin Yi do if he didn't give him that much money? But after Lin Yi came, didn't gambling bro obediently take out the money? It could be foreseen that those who lost money in the casino would have nowhere to seek redress for their grievances, and those who were lucky enough to win money. Yet he was not honored. How sorrowful was that? Meng Yao looked at Shu, who was quietly watching the movie. She realized that she couldn't understand Shu anymore. Before Lin Yi came to the villa, Shu was also this kind of silly, carefree personality. But at that time, Lin Yi didn't understand her. Meng Yao felt that this was most likely Shu's personality. But as time went on, Meng Yao realized that this wasn't the case. Shu wasn't really heartless. Most of the time, it was just an act. What was Shu trying to hide under this disguise? Meng Yao was surprised sometimes. Logically speaking, she should be the one who understood Shu the most, but in many situations, she realized that she only knew one side of Shu. At this moment, Lin Yi was still in Han Jingjing's villa, completely focused on recovering the physical strength and true qi that he had lost. Finally, after Lin Yi and Han Jingjing's physical strength recovered to their peak, Lin Yi decided to try concocting pills with Han Jingjing again. Let's start concocting 3 meridian unblocking pills now, is that okay? Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing and asked. After all, the two had just recovered their physical strength, and he wasn't sure if Han Jingjing could handle it. No problem, Lin Yi bro has already recovered Jingjing's physical strength and true qi. If Jingjing still can't concoct pills, then Jingjing is a big idiot. She's not worth Lin Yi bro's investment. Han Jingjing nodded. Ha! Okay then. Han Jingjing's words made Lin Yi a little embarrassed. Han Jingjing was really professional, and Lin Yi admired and liked her. This little lass was really a lucky star that the heavens had sent to him. Many difficult problems were easily solved by her here. Yes, yes. Han Jingjing nodded heavily. Jingjing is ready. This time, with Lin Yi bro's help, I'm very confident that we can succeed. Lin Yi was even more embarrassed. Every time Han Jingjing concocted pills, she would give the credit to Lin Yi. She was never greedy, and this made Linny feel like he was cheating an underage girl. But Han Jingjing was clearly an adult. It was just a little cute. Han Jingjing quickly prepared 3 portions of meridian unblocking pills ingredients and put them in the cauldron. Then, she quickly flipped through the tablet, looking for the scientific formula that she had recorded before. When Han Jingjing flipped to a page, she stopped and looked at it for a while. Then, she started to condense the fire, preparing to concoct the pills. And at this time, Linny also started to circulate the Heavenly Spring Rain Martial Technique, preparing to activate the Heavenly Spring Rain Martial Technique. Not long after, Han Jingjing started to concoct the pills. And this time, Han Jingjing was clearly more focused than before. She didn't look at Linny anymore. Her eyes were fixed on the time on her tablet, and the fire and temperature of the fire in her hands also changed according to the time. When Han Jingjing used up a portion of her physical strength and true qi, Linny started to activate the 3rd form of the Heavenly Spring Rain and started to transfer true qi to Han Jingjing. At the beginning, Linny only needed to activate the 3rd form. Later on, he would activate the 4th or 5th form to quickly recover Han Jingjing's true qi and physical strength. Han Jingjing also felt Lin Yi's true qi transfer over, but her expression only changed slightly. She continued to concentrate on concocting pills. Time flew, and it was night time in the blink of an eye. The two didn't know that they were both focused on concocting pills. Meng Yao and Yushu watched 2 movies and came downstairs to see that Linny wasn't back yet. Linny isn't back yet? Looks like we'll have to settle dinner ourselves, Meng Yao said as she looked at the empty living room. Oh, maybe we should go out and get some? Eating instant noodles every day isn't nutritious, Yushu said as she looked at the time on her phone. There should be a lot of good food around here that we didn't see before. I'll go around and see if there's any delivery. Then let's go eat together? No need, it's just the 2 of us, it's so troublesome, Meng Yao said. It's fine. Shu should go. If Shield Bro doesn't have anything to eat when he comes back tonight, he can at least eat some of Yao Yao's leftovers. Then, we can have an indirect kiss, Yushu said. Go, go, go! You talk too much! Meng Yao frowned and kicked Yushu out of the house, not letting her continue. Yushu walked out of the villa with a smile on her face. Eh? Shield Bro's car's still here? Why isn't he home? Meng Yao heard Yushu's words and came out to take a look. As expected, Lin Yi's jeep was still parked at the door, but Lin Yi and Qin Shi were nowhere to be seen. Chapter 2404. Eh? Lin Yi's out again? Meng Yao was puzzled as she prepared to make a call. Don't call yet. Yushu stopped Meng Yao suddenly. The car's at home, so Shield Bro must be nearby. If he's not at home, then he must be at Han Jingjing's. Maybe they're making pills, let's not disturb him. Meng Yao nodded, surprised. She had to admit that Shu was quite good at analyzing things, figuring out Lin Yi's whereabouts from small details. I'm going to buy some food. Yushu's eyes flashed with worry, but it was gone in a flash. Then I'll go with you? Meng Yao was already out of the villa, so it didn't matter if she went with Yushu. Don't, Yushu said subconsciously startled. Meng Yao looked at Yushu confused. What I meant was that Yao Yao should stay at home and wait for Shield Bro. He'll think that we've been kidnapped when he comes back and sees that we're gone, and his car's gone. Yushu explained. Oh, that's true. I'll wait for Linny then. Meng Yao nodded. Yushu breathed out in relief as she got into the car and drove Lin Yi's jeep out of Meng Yao's sight. Meng Yao watched the car leave, frowning as she stood in front of the villa for a long time, thinking about something. She shook her head after a while and walked into the villa. In a small tea house near the university town, a girl was sitting opposite a mysterious old man. The girl was trying her best to stay calm, but there was a hint of nervousness in her eyes. What's going on? Why isn't he dead yet? The old man frowned. Didn't I tell you to poison him? Why is he still fine? He's even talking to the hidden house Zhao? The girl hesitated. He's a doctor, and a refiner as well. He was the one who solved the poisoning incident in Songshan's first school. He even tasted the poison himself. In other words, this poison has no effect on him, or he has already solved it himself? The old man's expression softened a little after listening, then he nodded and said, "He didn't suspect you?" "I don't think so. If he's suspicious, he probably suspects that there's something wrong with the tea leaves. Perhaps there are pesticides on them that haven't been washed clean?" the girl said carefully. "I understand." The old man nodded noncommittally and said, "I expected this situation as well. It's just a test. Using poison to kill is easier, but the others are more troublesome." "Oh, then, why don't we not kill them? They're quite hard to kill. If we don't kill them properly and get exposed, it won't be fun, right?" the girl suggested. "What? You can't bear to?" The old man's eyes lit up as he looked at the young girl in front of him. "How? How is that possible?" The girl shook her head innocently. "I'm just afraid that I can't kill him. He just exposed himself. You know, he's very powerful." "Humph, don't forget who you are." The old man coldly snorted and threatened. "Your life and death is up to me. It's also in my hands. I'm sure you know the consequences of not having the antidote. It's death." "I know." The girl nodded silently. "Forget it. Since he's so powerful, then we'll use another trick," the old man said. "This is a bottle of sleeping pills blended with benzoin and an antidote. Put it in the tea and it'll make him sleep soundly. It's colorless and odorless, so he shouldn't be able to detect it. You'll be fine after taking the antidote. Otherwise, you'll also fall asleep." What's the use of this?" the girl asked curiously. "Of course it's useful. After he falls asleep, stab him to death with a knife," the old man said lightly. "He's an inner force cultivator. When he's asleep, he doesn't have chi to protect his body. One stab and he'll die." The girl didn't expect the old man to come up with such a method. "Is there a problem?" The old man didn't give the girl time to answer. He asked directly. No. The girl smiled bitterly. She took the sleeping pills from the old man and carefully put them in her pocket. "All right, I'll wait for the good news." The old man stood up and left the tea house first. As for the young lady, she sighed with a responsible look in her eyes. She turned around and waved at the waiter. "Waiter." Lin Yi and Han Jingjing finally finished refining the pills. It could be said that the entire process was very successful. At least, it seemed to be very successful. Han Jingjing strictly followed her formula and the cauldron didn't show any strange phenomena. In the end, the cauldron emitted waves of fragrance, which meant that the herbs in the cauldron were about to become pills. Phew! Han Jingjing heaved a sigh of relief. It's a success. But Jingjing is a little nervous. I wonder how many meridian unblocking pills I can make? Hee, as long as I can make more than 3 pills, it's a victory. Lin Yi was more calm. After all, if Han Jingjing could make more pills than she needed, it was a success. She was much better than other alchemists. And Brother Lin Yi always comforts Jingjing. Han Jingjing carefully opened the cauldron and subconsciously counted the number of pills inside. 1, 2, 3, 7? It's even more than the previous first-grade pills? Han Jingjing couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Her highest record was double the number of pills. This time, she actually made more than double the number of pills. Moreover, they were second-grade pills. How could she not be surprised? Haha, congratulations, Jingjing. Looks like you're getting more and more proficient at it. Although Lin Yi didn't appear too excited, he was actually very happy. Han Jingjing's attainments in alchemy were amazing, which meant that Lin Yi was amazing. It's not that Jingjing is getting better at it. It's that Brother Lin Yi is helping me. Otherwise, Jingjing wouldn't be able to do it. Not only would I fail, I wouldn't be able to make 7 pills out of 3 sets of ingredients. Han Jingjing said. That's right. Let's find some time to make the lesser chi-gathering pill. Hopefully, with these 5 sets of ingredients, we can create another miracle and make 12 pills. Linny said. Okay. Han Jingjing nodded. Let's recover our chi and stamina first. After that, I have to go back. Alchemy took up a lot of time. I haven't told Xiao and the others. Don't think that I'm missing, Linny said. N. Han Jingjing listened to whatever Linny said. It was as if she had no opinion of her own. Chapter 2405. But after leaving Lin Yi, she seemed to still have her own insights. Even the master refiners wouldn't be able to grasp her methods. After recovering their strength with Han Jingjing, Lin Yi took the pill and 9 meridian opening pills back to his villa. He saw Meng Yao sitting on the sofa as soon as he entered the house. She didn't turn on the TV, nor did she turn on the lights in the living room. Lin Yi jumped when he saw her sitting on the sofa. Yao Yao? What are you doing? Lin Yi blinked. Lin Yi, you're back. Meng Yao snapped out of her stupor. She didn't even notice Lin Yi enter the house, and only now did she realize how dark the living room was. December's sky darkened faster and earlier. There was still light in the living room when Meng Yao sent Yushu away, but now it was completely dark. I'll go turn on the lights, I'll do it. Lin Yi was at the doorway, closer to the light switch. He turned it on. Where's Shu? Did she drive the car in the yard? And Yao Yao, what were you doing? Shu went to buy food. Meng Yao hesitated, but seemed to have made up her mind. She turned to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, do you have time now? I want to talk to you while Shu's not here. Now? I do. Lin Yi nodded, a little confused. He walked over and sat on the sofa beside Meng Yao. What's wrong? Why do I feel like both of you are acting weird today? Lin Yi thought that Meng Yao was going to talk to him about Wang Xinyan, but Wang Xinyan's matters didn't need to be hidden from Shu, so Lin Yi found it strange. You feel that something's wrong with Shu too? Meng Yao was happy to hear Lin Yi's words. If that's the case, I don't have to explain. I feel that Shu's acting weird too, as if she's hiding something from us. You mean Shu? Didn't you ask her? Lin Yi realized that Meng Yao was talking about Shu's problem. He sighed and said, It was pretty normal before. I felt like I just went out for a walk. That's a problem. Yeah, I think so too, Meng Yao said. I've asked her a couple of times today, but she's always absent-minded. I've asked her what's wrong, but she won't tell me. I'm a little worried, but I don't know what to do then. What do you want to do? Lin Yi asked, finding Yushu's behavior rather strange today. Especially when she was pouring tea, he had no idea what she was going to do. I don't know. Meng Yao shook her head. She wanted to go out to buy food, and I wanted to go with her, but she didn't agree. It's like she's got something on her mind, and she's afraid that I'll ask. Maybe you could help me ask? Me? Lin Yi pointed at himself in surprise. Yup, little Shu treats you very well. She'll listen to you, Meng Yao said. Plus, she likes you. After listening to Meng Yao's words, Lin Yi fell silent. Lin Yi didn't object to what Meng Yao said. Yushu did listen to him, and Yushu would play tricks on everyone except himself. Sometimes, she would even play tricks on Meng Yao. But this didn't mean that Yushu could tell him what was on her mind. Lin Yi had long felt that there was something deeper under Yushu's crazy appearance. She pretended to be a happy little girl, but some things were just too much. I'll try, Lin Yi said. I'll find a chance to ask her these 2 days. Yup, thanks, Meng Yao said. I'm worried about her like this. No need to thank me. I'm worried too. She's not just your friend. Lin Yi waved his hand. She doesn't see me as a part of this family? Then you should thank me too. Meng Yao's mood improved after hearing Lin Yi's promise. I wanted to thank you. Right, did you ask Xinyan? Lin Yi asked. I did. Meng Yao was so worried about Shu that she would have forgotten about it if Lin Yi didn't bring it up. I called Xinyan just now, she said. She only sees you as a good friend, and she has a fiancé. Lin Yi didn't know what to say, so he quickly said, I called Xinyan just now, and she said She only sees you as a good friend, and she has a fiancé. Fiancé? Khan Dalong? Linny had always known about it, but he didn't think much of it. House Khan had become yesterday's flower, and there was nothing they could do about it. Dr. Kang's medical company was also on its last legs. This small family was basically on the decline. Why would Sinyan still take this engagement seriously? Yup, that's what she said. She said that it was her parents who decided it. She didn't want to put them in a difficult position, and she agreed to it. Meng Yao said. I see. Linny frowned. He felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Theoretically speaking, Wang Xinyan and Xiaolong's relationship wasn't very harmonious. Otherwise, if the two had really become a couple, Wang Xinyan's personality wouldn't allow her to do so many ambiguous things with him. Even if she didn't break off their relationship, she wouldn't do it again and again. But with their current relationship, it was only a matter of time before Lin Yi and Xinyan became a couple. Xinyan didn't give a clear answer, but her actions had more or less revealed some problems. But Wang Xinyan refused, and the reason she gave him was so ridiculous, but it made sense at the same time. Marriage, it was a good reason, but Lin Yi felt that it was a little strange. That's all she said, and she told me not to force her. Meng Yao smiled bitterly. I'm sorry, I couldn't complete the mission you entrusted to me. Forget it, it's nothing. Let's focus on Shu's problem first. Lin Yi waved his hand. He wondered if Xinyan had some difficulties. Or was there something she was hiding? But Meng Yao probably wouldn't be able to get an answer out of her, so it was up to Lin Yi to figure it out himself. With that, Lin Yi stood up and walked to the place where Shu knocked over the teacup. He bent down and sniffed the ground, frowning as if he was in deep thought. But after a while, Lin Yi stood up. Before Meng Yao could ask, Lin Yi spoke first. Don't talk about it. Shu might be back. Lin Yi heard the familiar sound of a car and knew that Shu was back. Okay, let's not talk about it later. Meng Yao stood up and followed Lin Yi out of the villa. Chapter 2406. Yushu had just parked the car when she saw Lin Yi and Meng Yao walking out of the villa together. She jumped. Shield. Shield bro, you're back. You and Yao Yao couldn't wait? No, I just came back. Lin Yi looked at the panicking Shu and his heart skipped a beat. Shu was indeed acting a little strange today. Let's eat together then, I bought it all. Eat it while it's hot, it'll be bad if it gets cold, Yushu said as she got out of the car. Sure. Lin Yi nodded. He walked into the villa's dining room with Meng Yao and Yushu. Meng Yao was a little surprised when she opened the food Yushu had bought. Shu, you went to a tea restaurant? Yeah. I went to a Hong Kong tea restaurant and bought some snacks and food for a change, Yushu said. That's good, it's been a while since I've eaten these things. Meng Yao nodded. Before Lin Yi moved into the villa, she and Shu would go to restaurants, tea restaurants, and Western restaurants whenever Faubert had something to do. It had been a while since they had that kind of lifestyle. Yeah, that's why Shu bought it today. Shield bro, let's eat together? Shu's hungry. Yushu nodded. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. He got the utensils from the kitchen and sat at the dining table. The three of them started digging in. But Lin Yi frowned after the first bite of the teriyaki chicken rice Yushu bought. He was about to say something when Yushu asked, Shield bro, how's the taste? Is it good? Oh, it's pretty good. Lin Yi wanted to say something, but decided against it in the end. He lowered his head and went back to eating. That's good. Yushu nodded. Meng Yao blinked curiously as she pondered over the strange conversation between the two. There wasn't anything wrong with the conversation, but Meng Yao felt that something wasn't right. She couldn't put her finger on it, but she didn't know what it was. However, Lin Yi knew that something was amiss. This was because he had tasted a familiar taste from the chicken drumstick rice. Resting grass was exactly what Lin Yi lacked before he started cultivating the art of dragon mastery. It was a very rare medicine. Although Lin Yi had not personally tasted its taste, he had read about it many times from the information. Moreover, Linny still remembered it vividly. He had almost gone mad because of the benzodiac grass, so he naturally could not forget the taste of the benzodiac grass. This time, Linny suddenly tasted this kind of taste in the chicken drumstick rice, and he was a little confused. Although the benzodiac grass had the effect of calming the mind, it was only for the art of dragon mastery. If it were someone else, eating the benzodiac grass would be no different from taking sleeping pills. They would feel sleepy and fall asleep very quickly. There weren't too many side effects, but the person who took it would fall into a deep sleep. Even if there was an earthquake or thunder, they might not wake up. So, naturally, it was very strange for a medicine like this to be used in a tea house's chicken drumstick rice. Linny knew that some nourishing restaurants would put important things in their food that could help with sleep, such as acanthopanax, schisandra, and jujube seeds. However, those were only supplementary things, and they wouldn't make the person fall asleep immediately. This benzodiac grass, on the other hand, was different. This thing was even more powerful than sleeping pills. If the restaurant put this thing in the food, wouldn't the customers fall asleep after eating? However, the reason why Linny didn't ask was because he was suspicious of Shu. When Linny was eating, Shu watched him eat. Although it could be understood that Shu wanted to know if the food she bought suited Linny's taste, and in fact, Yushu did ask Linny about it after the meal, but Linny still felt that something was wrong. However, Linny quickly finished the chicken drumstick rice in front of him, and ate a lot of the side dishes that Yushu brought back. Mengyao's appetite was relatively small, and she was full after eating half of the big box of chicken drumstick rice. "Shield bro? Are you full? Why don't you eat Yao Yao sis's too?" Yushu looked at the remaining half box of chicken drumstick rice and asked Linny. "Shu!" Meng Yao frowned. "Let's eat then, I'm a little hungry anyway." Linny nodded and didn't say anything else. He took the chicken drumstick rice in front of Meng Yao and started eating. Meng Yao's mouth opened in shock. Did she just kiss Linny indirectly again? But this time, she didn't hate him as much as before. There was only a slight feeling of love, and it made her blush. The reason Linny brought Meng Yao's chicken drumstick rice over wasn't because he wanted to play some indirect kissing game, but because he wanted to see if there was any benzoin in it. If there wasn't, then it meant that there was something wrong with his chicken drumstick rice, and Yushu would be the first suspect. If there was, then Linny didn't want Meng Yao to eat too much of it. It wasn't a bad thing, but it wouldn't be fun if Meng Yao woke up late for school tomorrow. As for the benzoin, Linny didn't really care about it. It wouldn't affect him at all if he ate too much of it, and it would only help with the art of dragon mastery. Linny had been lacking this herb a long time ago, and now he had it. Linny finished the chicken drumstick rice in 2 or 3 bites and stood up. "I'm going back to my room to practicing, you guys rest early too. So many things happened today, it's quite tiring." "Yeah. Yawn. Now that you mention it, I'm feeling a little sleepy too." Meng Yao yawned, thinking that Linny had infected her. "Okay." But Linny knew that Meng Yao was sleepy because of the benzoin. It'd be weird if she wasn't sleepy. But Linny noticed that Yushu wasn't doing anything wrong. At least, Linny couldn't see any signs of tiredness in her eyes. Logically speaking, the benzoin should have taken effect already, but Linny didn't say anything. He and Yao Yao had noticed Yushu's weird behavior a long time ago, and so they decided not to bring it up. They went straight to the bedroom. "Yawn." Yushu yawned before turning to Meng Yao. "Yao Yao, Shu's sleepy too. Let's go to bed." "Okay." Meng Yao nodded and went upstairs with Yushu. Chapter 2407. Meng Yao, however, wasn't as observant as Linny. She didn't realize that Yushu wasn't sleepy at all. Linny went back to his room and started channeling the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. But today, Linny was paying extra attention to the movements in the villa. Shu was too weird today, especially the resting grass in her food. Linny wanted to see what Shu was up to. After channeling the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, Linny suddenly realized that his training efficiency was very high today. Although Linny split a part of his attention to the movements in the villa, Today's training was twice the result with half the effort. It was as if Sinyan was training beside him. The speed was so fast that Lin Yi was speechless. But Lin Yi understood after thinking about it. Before practicing the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, he needed the resting grass. But Lin Yi didn't use it, and replaced it with something else, causing him to go berserk. After that, he recovered, but Lin Yi still didn't have the resting grass in his body. So now that he suddenly took the resting grass, it had the same effect as before. It allowed him to channel the second stage of the art of dragon mastery more efficiently. This was actually the herb he'd used when he first started using the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, in order to reduce the side effects. But now that he was very familiar with it, the resting grass was twice the result with half the effort. Of course, this was only the first time he used it. The art of dragon mastery didn't mention that the resting grass could help with training. It was only mentioned once. After that, the effects of the resting grass were even more out of Lin Yi's expectations. Lin Yi had just broken through to Earth class mid-phase peak. Logically speaking, stabilizing his strength and breaking through to Earth class mid-phase peak should take a long time. At least, that was the case before. From Earth class mid-phase peak to Earth class mid-phase peak was a lot faster with the help of Sinyan's fragrance. But Lin Yi didn't think that the resting grass would allow him to break through from Earth class mid-phase peak to Earth class late phase peak. Right now, he was only one step away from Earth class late phase. Lin Yi didn't know if he should laugh or cry. It didn't matter who planted the resting grass, it indirectly helped Lin Yi, stabilizing Lin Yi's training. This feels so good. Lin Yi let out a long sigh of relief. This training speed was almost the same as riding a helicopter. But Lin Yi knew that this kind of opportunity was hard to come by. If he used the resting grass in the future, it wouldn't have this effect anymore. After all, this was a special case. Looking at the time, it was already midnight. He didn't think that time would pass so quickly. Lin Yi sensed the situation in the villa's living room. It was still quiet, there was no movement. But the silence was short. After a while, Lin Yi heard clear footsteps. It was Shu's footsteps. Lin Yi had lived in the villa for a long time, and he could hear Shu's and Yao Yao's footsteps very clearly. Shu was tiptoeing, but Lin Yi could still hear it clearly in the quiet night, and he was using his perception in the jade space. Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before closing his eyes and lying on the bed quietly. His breathing was even as he snored, as if he was in a deep sleep. After a while, Lin Yi's door was opened softly. In the villa, Lin Yi didn't have the habit of locking the door. From the jade space, Lin Yi could see that it was Shu. This didn't surprise Lin Yi, but he was a little surprised. Yushu's face was no longer cute and playful. Instead, it was replaced with worry and nervousness. She stood at the door, thinking about something. After thinking for a long time, she sighed softly and walked into Lin Yi's room. In Yushu's hand, there was a sharp knife. Under the moonlight, it shined with a green light. Yushu quietly came to Lin Yi's side and looked at the sleeping Lin Yi. Her eyes flashed with a complicated expression, as if she was going through the last struggle in her heart. Although Lin Yi was still pretending to be asleep, he was actually paying attention to Yushu's every move. When he saw Yushu walking over with a sharp knife in her hand, he couldn't help but be shocked. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't afraid of the knife in Yushu's hand. He was just shocked. What was Yushu going to do with a knife? In fact, Lin Yi could roughly guess what was going on. Was she trying to kill him? This was probably the only explanation. Otherwise, why would Yushu appear in his room with a knife at this time? Especially in the chicken drumstick rice from before, there was the existence of the sleeping medicine, benzoin. Yushu took a deep breath and silently raised the knife in her hand. Her heart was beating fast, and her breathing was rapid. The hand holding the knife was shaking non-stop. One could see how intense the struggle in her heart was. Yushu finally couldn't endure the pain in her heart anymore. She put down the knife in her hand and breathed heavily. She stared at the sleeping Lin Yi in a daze. After a long time, Yushu calmed down and slowly raised the knife again, aiming at Lin Yi's chest. At this time, Linny finally confirmed that Shu wanted to kill him. But what reason did she have? Linny couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. If it was said that Shu liked him, then Linny would believe it. But if it was said that Shu could assassinate him, Linny really didn't believe it. All along, Yushu's behavior and their relationship had determined that this would never happen. But something that shouldn't have happened, just like that. Linny remembered the smell on the floor. It was similar to the smell of poison. Although he wiped it clean, there was still some residue. However, Linny wasn't very sure, and he couldn't lick the floor. But at this moment, Linny also guessed that the tea was probably poisoned by Shu. Otherwise, Shu wouldn't have acted so strangely. After pouring the tea for him, she snatched it away, and when Mengyao wanted to drink, she reached out and knocked it away. This proved that Shu was actually very conflicted in her heart, and it matched the current situation. Shu's heart must be conflicted. She must have had her own reasons for doing this. Chapter 2408. Linny was confused, but he couldn't think of a good reason. Sigh. Shu seemed to be a little discouraged and sighed softly. She put down the knife and looked at Linny with a layer of mist in her eyes. Her big watery eyes were filled with sadness, a kind of sadness that she had no choice but to do. Linny didn't move. He wanted to see what Shu was going to do. With his strength, he could easily dodge the knife after it landed. Besides, Linny had the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. Even if his heart was pierced, it wouldn't be a big problem as long as he healed in time. Shield bro. Shu still can't do it. Yushu mumbled to herself and shook her head. Shu likes you, Yao Yao likes you too. If you die, Shu will be sad, Yao Yao will be sad too. And Xiao Xiao and Yin Yin sis, they will be sad too. Shu can't bear to see them sad, and I don't want to be sad myself, so Shu should die. But I don't know if I can drag. Sigh. Linny was a little surprised. Yushu mumbled to herself for a while. How did it end up with her dying? As for who Yin Yin sis was? Linny didn't have the time to think about it. Yushu's voice was very soft, so Linny guessed that she was talking about Yin Yin sis or Wang Xinyan. Shield bro, Shu loves you. Just when Linny was wondering, Yushu suddenly lowered her body and sealed Lin Yi's mouth with her lips. She quickly pulled away, as if she was afraid of waking Lin Yi up. Yushu's sudden confession and bold action shocked Lin Yi. Although he also felt that Shu seemed to like him, he had never confessed so formally before. He even used the word love instead of like. Alright, although Shu wants to be a mistress for the rest of her life, Shu's not as lucky as Xiao Xiao's. After Shu dies, she'll appear in Shield Bro's dreams and have sex with Shield Bro in her dreams. Yushu continued talking to herself. Linny heard Yushu's words. Linny almost couldn't hold back his laughter. This little Shu, just a moment ago she was so sad, and the next moment she said such a funny thing. It really made Linny speechless. Yushu stared blankly at Linny for a moment before turning around as if she'd made up her mind. She walked towards the door of Linny's room. Her footsteps were heavy and determined, and her petite figure made one's heart ache. Shu! Linny couldn't help but open his eyes and call out to her. Ah! Yushu was shocked. She didn't think that Linny would wake up at this time. Her body froze subconsciously, and the knife in her hand fell to the ground uncontrollably. It made a crisp sound in the quiet night. It was extremely ear-piercing. Shu, what are you doing? Linny tried to make his voice sound calm as if he had just woken up. Not sleeping in the middle of the night? What are you doing in my room? What's that on the ground? A knife? Are you trying to kill me? Lin Yi's tone was teasing as if he was joking, but Yushu's heart jumped when she heard it. Yeah, what am I doing? Oh. I know, Shu is sleepwalking. I was dreaming just now, and I dreamt that there's a monster in Shield Bro's room, so I came to help Shield Bro fight the monster. Sleepwalking? You have this kind of habit? Lin Yi listened to Yushu's poor attempt at covering it up. He didn't expose her immediately, but asked instead. Oh yeah, Shu seems to have some problem with her body since she was young. Shield bro, can you take a look at me? Aren't you a miracle doctor? Yushu turned around and extended her hand to Lin Yi. Lin Yi looked at her expectant gaze, and it didn't seem to be fake. He paused for a moment. This wasn't the first time Shu asked him to check her body. There were a few times before, but Lin Yi didn't think much of it. But Shu's strange fever made Lin Yi suspicious. Although Shu was cured after taking some special medicine, and said that it was a problem since she was young, Lin Yi was still puzzled. He had never seen a problem like this before. Okay. Lin Yi didn't reject this time. He grabbed Yushu's hand and checked her pulse, carefully checking it. But it didn't take long for the results to come out. Yushu's body was very healthy, and there weren't any problems at all. The only thing he could say was that she had too much energy, or that she had too much energy. Shu, you are not sick, Lin Yi said, and you should be sleeping well. Theoretically speaking, you shouldn't sleepwalk. Also, there's a medicine called benzoin in the chicken drumstick rice that we ate at night. This medicine has the effect of calming the mind. After taking it, not to mention sleepwalking, you might not even have time to go to the toilet. It's not impossible for you to wet your bed. What benzoin? Yushu was shocked, and a flash of panic appeared in her eyes. She didn't think that Lin Yi could even tell that there was benzoin in the chicken rice. You don't know? Lin Yi asked. I don't know anything. Yushu gritted her teeth and didn't admit it. Shu, are you suspecting that you are sick? Lin Yi didn't dwell on the question. Maybe. Yushu shook her head. Shield bro, did you just wake up? Did I wake you up? Yeah. Lin Yi hesitated, but he didn't expose Yushu. He only asked, Shu, you seem to have something on your mind? Did you run into some trouble? It's nothing, I can deal with it myself. It's just that I'm a little nervous these days. Yushu said. Okay. It was obvious that she was hiding something. She didn't want to say it, and Lin Yi didn't want to force her. Shu was that kind of person. If she wanted to say it, you didn't need to ask her. If she didn't want to say it, it was useless no matter how you asked. Plus, Lin Yi could tell that Yushu had her own difficulties, and she didn't have any bad intentions towards him. If she really had bad intentions, she wouldn't have spilled the teacup the first time they drank tea, and the second time in his bedroom, she wouldn't have stabbed him with a knife. Perhaps she was forced into a corner, or perhaps she was threatened. Lin Yi could only speculate. Lin Yi didn't force her because he knew that Yushu's trouble wasn't small. Chapter 2409. Lin Yi knew what kind of person she was. In the past, whenever she was in trouble, the first person she thought of was him. But this time, she didn't. She wanted to solve it on her own. This meant that this problem was either something she could solve, or he couldn't solve it. Shu was an extremely smart person. Although she looked dumb every day, Lin Yi knew that it was just a facade. After the facade was torn apart, she wasn't dumb at all. But since Yushu didn't say anything, it meant that the problem she was in was troublesome enough that even Lin Yi couldn't solve it. Or rather, she didn't want him to take the risk. But since Yushu said that she could solve it herself, Lin Yi didn't ask anymore. It's late, Shu. Go to sleep. You still have school tomorrow, Lin Yi said. Okay. Yushu picked up the knife on the ground and walked out of Lin Yi's room quietly. But when she was about to leave, she stopped and turned around hesitantly. Can I not tell Yao Yao? HM? Lin Yi heard Yushu's question and smiled bitterly. It seemed like she knew everything. But still, Lin Yi nodded. Okay. The two didn't say it out loud, but they were both smart people. They knew what the other meant. Yushu smiled and left the room. Lin Yi, on the other hand, couldn't fall asleep after Yushu left. He didn't even have the mood to train anymore. He tossed and turned on his bed, thinking about what happened today. The next day, the sun rose, but Shu and Yao Yao didn't wake up on time. It was also because of the benzoa. Lin Yi didn't think too much about it, but Shu was probably pretending to be asleep. She didn't want Yao Yao to know something about her. As expected, it was almost 8. Meng Yao and Yushu rushed down the stairs in a daze. Yushu shouted, "We're late, we're late. Why did you oversleep?" Linny looked at Yushu's eyes, stunned. He was a doctor, and it was only natural that he could tell that Yushu had overslept, and had only just woken up. She hadn't slept at all last night, and had only overslept when she got home. It was different from Meng Yao, who'd taken the benzoin. What puzzled Linny, however, was that Yushu could actually fall asleep. So many things had happened yesterday. I can't even sleep, but she can? Could it be that yesterday's incident was really over? Could she really handle it? However, no matter what, Xiao Shu had returned to her old self. She was no longer as depressed as before. Perhaps she had thought through some things. Linny let out a sigh of relief, but at the same time, he was a little worried. "You're up? I've got breakfast ready. Have some. Hurry up and go to school," Linny said. "Han Jingjing came just now. I let her go first and didn't wait for you. Today, Linny, Meng Yao, and Yushu were definitely late, but the teachers wouldn't punish them too harshly if they were late for classes. Only Lin Yi's minor was different. Boss Bai's method was very special, but it didn't work on Lin Yi. Lin Yi was someone who passed his special exam, and he could be late or ask for leave anytime he wanted. He wasn't restricted by the rules, and that was why Lin Yi let Han Jingjing go first. Meng Yao and Yushu shouldn't be a problem either. After all, the other majors weren't as strict as Boss Bai. "Wow, it smells so good." Shu came to the kitchen and saw the poached eggs and lean meat porridge that Lin Yi had prepared. Her mouth watered. Meng Yao noticed that Yushu seemed to have returned to her usual liveliness, and so she didn't ask about what happened yesterday. He didn't ask anymore. He guessed that she might be tired or had caught a cold. After breakfast, the three of them went to school. Lin Yi watched as Meng Yao and Yushu went to the economics department, and he walked into the biology building. But when he walked into the class, Lin Yi was a little nervous. It wasn't because Boss Bai was a teacher, but because Lin Yi didn't know how to face Wang Xinyan, who had failed his confession yesterday. He didn't know if Wang Xinyan would reject and distance herself from him because of this. If that was the case, then it wouldn't be worth it. Lin Yi took a deep breath and walked into the classroom. But what surprised Lin Yi was that Boss Bai wasn't in the classroom. Although the students were all studying, Boss Bai really didn't come. Although Lin Yi wasn't afraid of Boss Bai finding fault, it was best if he wasn't late. Lin Yi glanced at the classroom window and saw that Wang Xinyan was still sitting in her original seat, and behind her was Han Jingjing. At least on the surface, there didn't seem to be anything wrong. She was still sitting in the middle of the row, not at the side. Taking over Lin Yi's seat meant that she was indirectly rejecting Lin Yi from sitting next to her. But Wang Xinyan didn't do that, and this made Lin Yi feel relieved. If Wang Xinyan rejected Lin Yi, it would be a problem for Lin Yi's future training. So this time, Lin Yi walked to Wang Xinyan's side naturally and sat right next to her. Wang Xinyan was reading her book as usual, as if she didn't care at all about Lin Yi sitting there. But Lin Yi could see from the slight movement of her eyelashes that she was actually quite nervous. "Xinyan, thank you for yesterday." Lin Yi tried to find something to talk about. In fact, Lin Yi had already thanked Wang Xinyan yesterday. "It's nothing. We're good friends." Wang Xinyan's voice was obviously nervous. "All right, class is about to start. Let's not talk anymore, haha, all right then. Let's go to class then," Lin Yi said with a chuckle. He could tell that Xinyan was like a frightened little bird, and he didn't want to provoke her any further. It was for the best that everyone was fine with each other in this situation. But Lin Yi didn't know what Wang Xinyan's real concern was. Was it because of the Xiao family, or the Kong family? Or was it because of some other reason? Lin Yi didn't really believe that Wang Xinyan didn't like him. After all, their relationship had exceeded that of normal classmates, and was even better than good friends. If they were of the same sex, they could be described as gay friends, but if they were of the opposite sex, it was more than just friendship. However, What happened next made him feel even more incredulous. Was it premeditated by Wang Xinyan, or was it a coincidence? Because at that moment, Boss Bai walked into the classroom, and behind him was House King's Kong Xiaolong. Chapter 24:10. But very quickly, Lin Yi understood that this most likely had nothing to do with Xinyan, because when Xinyan saw Xiaolong, her expression was the same as if she saw something unbelievable. Something was delayed today, because I had to receive a student, Boss Bai said slowly. Boss Bai's voice sounded slowly. Kong Xiaolong is also from our department. He's everyone's senior, and he's currently a PhD student under my tutelage. He's currently writing his PhD thesis, and he came to me today, saying that he's looking for inspiration in class. So in the future, Kong Xiaolong will be part of our class. Boss Bai had no reason to reject Xiaolong's request. Although Xiaolong wasn't the most outstanding student under him, he was a very hard-working student, following Boss Bai all the way from undergraduate to PhD. So when Xiaolong wanted to sit in, Boss Bai agreed without hesitation. Hello everyone, I'm Xiaolong, your senior. If you have any problems with medicine in the future, you can come to me anytime. Xiaolong introduced himself generously. His eyes swept across the students, and finally landed on Xinyan, who was sitting beside Lin Yi. Seeing Xinyan and Lin Yi together, Xiaolong felt a surge of anger. This was his woman, and she was sitting with his enemy, Lin Yi. This was a huge insult to him. But Xiaolong was a very shrewd person, and he wouldn't get angry in a situation like this. He only stared at Xinyan. Xinyan could feel Xiaolong's fiery gaze on her. She felt uncomfortable. Xinyan didn't expect Xiaolong to suddenly appear in her class. She had just brought up the cancellation of the engagement with her family yesterday. Today, Xiaolong came chasing after her. Was he trying to show off his power? She wasn't worried that Xiaolong would catch her in the act if she was with Lin Yi. She was worried that Xiaolong would use the power of the Sky Elixir sect to harm Lin Yi. Then all his efforts would go down the drain. Xiaolong had caught her off guard. If she had known that Xiaolong would come, she wouldn't have sat with Lin Yi. But it was too late now. Xiaolong's gaze was filled with possession. How could Xinyan not feel it? Lin Yi, on the other hand? After a moment of shock, he calmed down. Xiaolong was here? This wasn't just a matter of coincidence, but why was House Kong so bold? Letting Xiaolong come here? House Kong was backed by the Hidden House Yu. Although Lin Yi couldn't do anything to the Hidden House Yu, the Hidden House Yu wouldn't dare to do anything to Lin Yi either. Especially after the Hidden House Summit, the Yu family didn't dare to act rashly. This could be seen from the fact that the Hidden Yu family suffered losses one after another, but they didn't dare to make a fart. Plus, Xiaolong had injured Elder Bai so badly that the news would have gotten out a long time ago. Xiaolong appearing here now was just too weird. Was he really here to chase after Xinyan? With Lin Yi's understanding of the Kangs, it was hard for him to believe this was real. Lin Yi didn't have much contact with Xiaolong. But from the way he did things, Lin Yi could tell that he was a sinister person. A person like that, coming to this mess when House Kong was in such a weak state, was something that Lin Yi couldn't believe. With that thought, Lin Yi raised his head and looked at Xiaolong faintly. His sharp gaze made Xiaolong's heart skip a beat. He didn't dare look at Lin Yi anymore. Kong Xiaolong was furious, but he didn't dare to look Lin Yi in the eye. Although the Kong family's confidence was extremely inflated, it was still under the Yu family's bluff. Kong Xiaoming was very cautious. Without any clear support, Xiaolong didn't dare to go against Lin Yi. But he wasn't afraid of Lin Yi. He didn't come here to go against Lin Yi. He just wanted to steal his fiancée from Lin Yi's hands and humiliate Lin Yi. After all, he was in the right. He was engaged to Xinyan, and they were in Boss Bai's class. He believed that Lin Yi wouldn't dare do anything to him. It was the rule. In fact, he'd been suppressed for too long. He had the mindset of a villain. Under Lin Yi's suppression, House Kong didn't have a chance to breathe. Ever since Lin Yi brought Kong Xiaobo and that bitch to Dr. Kang's birthday banquet, House Kong had been going downhill. Now that they could make a comeback, it would cheer them up. So, Xiaolong ignored Lin Yi's cold stare and walked to Coiling Tiger's seat. Today, Coiling Tiger sat by himself. His underlings, yellow and purple, sat behind him, purposely giving their seats to Xiaolong. After Xiaolong sat down, Boss Bai started his lecture. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think much of him. Xin Yan, on the other hand, was visibly uncomfortable. Her face was filled with worry. Xin Yan, you actually don't want to marry Xiaolong, right? Lin Yi saw her uneasiness and asked. Xin Yan jumped. She didn't expect Lin Yi to ask like that. It was hard for her to answer. Xin Yan thought that she'd harden her heart and act like nothing happened when she faced Lin Yi. She'd lie to Lin Yi, say that she didn't like him, that she was engaged, and that they were just good friends. But when the words came to her mouth, they weren't as straightforward as they were with Meng Yao yesterday. She stuttered, not knowing what to say. She couldn't lie to Lin Yi. And so, Xin Yan was in a difficult position. She hesitated for a long time before saying, Lin Yi, we're good friends, and I'm not afraid of a crooked shadow. Xiaolong may be my fiancé, but he can't cause trouble for me because of this. I won't allow him to restrict my freedom to make friends. Lin Yi didn't know if he should laugh or cry at Xin Yan's nonsensical question, but this only served to further confuse Xin Yan's thoughts. Logically speaking, Xin Yan had a fiancé, and if her heart was really on her fiancé's side, she wouldn't be this close to Lin Yi, let alone sitting next to him at school. But if Xin Yan didn't like Xiaolong, why would she marry him? Why would she say that she had a fiancé and emphasize that they were just friends? Let's go to class. It's been a while since you last came. You've fallen behind a lot, haven't you? These are my notes. Make a copy, Xin Yan said calmly as she pushed her notes to Lin Yi. Chapter 24:11. All right, thanks. Lin Yi had no choice but to nod and stop talking about it. However, what Lin Yi was learning were some of Boss Bai's unique opinions in class, as well as some random notes that he mentioned occasionally, which gave Lin Yi a refreshing feeling. As for Wang Xinyan's notes, they were all rigid knowledge, but Lin Yi knew all of these things, so after flipping through a few pages, Lin Yi closed the notes. Right now, Lin Yi's main goal was to train. As for the knowledge of medicinal properties, Lin Yi didn't care too much about it. His medical skills were more than enough for daily treatment, and since Lin Yi couldn't become a refiner for the time being, he didn't have much interest in learning. Training was still Lin Yi's goal, so Lin Yi had to make use of this great opportunity to train hard. Seeing Lin Yi close his eyes, Wang Xinyan knew that Lin Yi was training. After a slight hesitation, she took off her jacket and moved towards Lin Yi, pretending to be careless. However, her trembling body betrayed her. Although Lin Yi had his eyes closed, he was still able to sense everything in the outside world, even the new ideas that Boss Bai had brought up. Wang Xinyan's actions calmed Lin Yi down, but at the same time, he was a bit puzzled. If Wang Xinyan was still the same as before, not ruling out helping him train in this kind of embarrassing way, then why did she bring up Aolong as her fiancé? Since he couldn't figure it out, Lin Yi could only give up and slowly observe. Don't try to guess what a girl was thinking. As expected, guessing would only add to his troubles. Boss Bai was used to Lin Yi closing his eyes in class, but since Lin Yi had passed his exam, it didn't matter even if he didn't come to class. He naturally wouldn't care. Xiaolong sat beside Yu Panhu. Although he felt honored that Kang Mingming had been accepted as the last disciple of the Sky Elixir sect's fifth elder, and his status had been elevated a lot. But in front of Right Coiling Tiger, Xiaolong didn't go overboard. He was not an idiot. Although the Kang family seemed to be very powerful now, no matter what, the Kang family's foundation was too weak. The Yu family was an old hidden family and an alchemy family. The Heavenly Elixir sect valued them very much. Naturally, it was not something that the current Kang family could compare with. Of course, if Kang Xiaoming really did become an elder of the Sky Elixir sect one day, Kang Xiaolong wouldn't have to lower himself to Tiger Right anymore. Brother Yu, nice to meet you for the first time. Please take care of me. Although the two of them had talked on the phone before, it was the first time they had met in person. They had only seen each other in photos. Hee, Brother Kong must be joking. It's Brother Kong who will take care of our house Yu in the future. Right, Coiling Tiger wasn't the head of the Yu family. At most, he would be an elder. But Xiaolong was different. Kong Ningning had left to become an elder of the Sky Elixir sect. He couldn't return to be the head of the Kong family. The head of the Kong family had to be Xiaolong. There was no one else, so Yupan who didn't have a high status. Take care of each other. Xiaolong laughed. Right, Brother Yu, I heard that Wang Xinyan and Lin Yi are very close. Yes, they are. Right, Coiling Tiger nodded. Brother Kong, I have to remind you that Wang Xinyan is your fiancé. I have to remind you Wang Xinyan is your fiancé, after all. It's not right for her to be with Lin Yi. Yes, Brother Yu. You know my family's situation. In the past, our Kong family could only be considered as a low-class family. We only rose because of my brother Zhao. So if I were to fight with Lin Yi, I wouldn't be his match. Xiaolong didn't hide it and told the truth. After all, Lin Yi is a practitioner. If I were to fight with him, even if Xiaoming could get revenge, I'd be at a disadvantage. That's true. Right, Coiling Tiger nodded. I won't hide it from you. Lin Yi is a very strange kid. I've suffered a bit from him. If we were to compare strength, we wouldn't be his match. Unless a Sky class gets involved, we won't be his match. You know about the Hidden House Zhao, right? The Earth class late phase peak elder Bai was crippled by Lin Yi in one move. With this kid's strength, I'm afraid even an early phase Sky class won't be his match. Xiaolong sucked in a cold breath. His mind cleared up a lot. Even an early phase Sky class won't be his match? Thank God he didn't provoke him. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. But you don't have to worry. Right, Coiling Tiger waved his hand. Boss Bai, you and I know the rules of the class, and so does Lin Yi. He won't do anything to you. Dirty tricks are fine, but if you really do it, Boss Bai won't agree. What Boss Bai hates the most is killing each other in the same class. That's true. Xiaolong understood this, naturally. But what's Boss Bai's background? Can he scare Lin Yi? Boss Bai, the Sky Elixir sect is really strong, right? Right, Coiling Tiger paused. Even the Sky Elixir sect's ancestor, the Sky Man, respects him a lot. He used to be a top elixir refiner in the Jianghu. I heard that he came from a higher plane, but that's just a rumor. No one knows. Oh? Xiaolong paused. He knew that Boss Bai was strong, but that was only limited to the academic world. Boss Bai was very good at learning, but he didn't know that Boss Bai used to have such a prominent identity. However, he felt a little strange. Then how did he become an ordinary teacher now? It seems that he didn't control it well enough when he was making the elixir, and his meridians got damaged. Right, Coiling Tiger said. I'm not too sure about the specifics, but you know that he's strong. Lin Yi wouldn't dare hurt us. That's good. Xiaolong breathed out in relief. He started thinking about how he could get Wang Xinyan and embarrass Lin Yi. Lin Yi's not only close to Wang Xinyan, but he's also close to Han Jingjing. I'm planning on going after Han Jingjing, so Lin Yi won't be able to take care of both at the same time. I'll go with you to help Big Bro Kong. Right, Coiling Tiger had wanted to mess with Lin Yi for a long time, and getting in touch with Han Jingjing was also a mission from his family. He wouldn't let go of this opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. As expected, Xiaolong was overjoyed. That's great! This way, Lin Yi will have enemies on both sides, and he won't be able to take care of the second one. If we go after her together, he'll definitely make a mistake. That's what I'm thinking, but we need to think about how we're going to do it. Right, Coiling Tiger said. Chapter 24:12. That's easy. My brother is a master at hitting on girls. I'll give him a call and see if he has any good ideas. We can learn from each other. Xiaolong had never hit on girls before. He'd always paid attention to his image, wanting to be a clear contrast to Kang Mingming, but now it seemed that this was his weakness. But life was unpredictable. Xiaolong sighed at his brother's good luck, but at the same time he let out a sigh of relief. His identity as the future head of House Kang was secured, and House Kang would be able to soar to new heights because of Zhao Ming. That's good. Yu Panhu nodded. He was the young master of House Yu, and he never hit on a girl before. It was all girls throwing themselves at him, so he didn't have much experience in this area. There was a chance to interact with Kang Mingming, and he wouldn't let it go. On the other side, the two had reached an agreement. They looked at each other with a perverted smile. Without competition, Xiaolong had decided to go the perverted route as well. In a secluded corner of the school, a Mercedes-Benz R350 was parked. Yushu opened the door nervously and got in. ? In the car, an old man saw Yushu and asked, "Why aren't you dead yet? Did you do anything?" Yushu sighed helplessly. "It's not that I didn't do anything, but Lin Yi's too strong. The resting grass doesn't work on him. Impossible." The old man slapped the armrest in the car and raged. "This resting grass was given to us hidden House Yu by the Sky Elixir sect. It's effective on any practitioner, so why doesn't it work on Lin Yi? I think you have feelings for him, and you don't want to do anything, right?" This old man was House Yu's old master's favorite, Yui. And him. The mysterious old man from the mall and the tea house, and the girl was naturally Yushu. "It really doesn't work," Yushu said carefully. "Lin Yi's too strong, the resting grass really doesn't work on him. And I almost got exposed. So it's best if we don't do anything to Lin Yi. What if Lin Yi takes it out on House Yu? House Yu has support, why would we be afraid of him?" Yui scoffed. "Lin Yi crippled Elder Bai of the hidden Zhao family in one move. I think you can only last 2 moves. Yushu's voice was a little nervous, but she said it anyway. Speaking of Elder Bai, Yu1 went silent. He was only a Sky class early phase, a line away from Elder Bai. Although the difference wasn't huge, it wasn't small either. So Yu was a little afraid. Especially after hearing from Elder Yu about what Lin Yi did in the Noble House meeting. Even Elder Yu wasn't confident that he could beat Lin Yi. Even a few Sky class masters had to gang up on him, so naturally, Yu1 had to do it as well. If a Sky class could really take down Lin Yi, then House Yu wouldn't have used Yushu, a chess piece, at the risk of being exposed. They'd just let you do it. But Elder Yu didn't dare. Elder Bai was a good example. He didn't dare say that he could cripple Elder Bai in one move, but Lin Yi did it. Didn't that mean that Lin Yi was stronger than Elder Yu? You're speaking for him? Yu1 was a little afraid, but he knew that Yushu and Lin Yi had a lot of things going on between them. Naturally, he wouldn't believe Yushu so easily. I have a recording here, listen to it, Yushu said, not bothering to explain. She pulled out her phone and started playing the recording. Oh? Yu1 paused. He nodded and listened to the recording on Yushu's phone. Shu! What are you doing? What are you doing in my room instead of sleeping in the middle of the night? What's that on the floor? A knife? Are you trying to kill me? Lin Yi's voice came from Yushu's phone. Yeah, what am I doing? Oh. I know, Shu's sleepwalking. I was dreaming just now, dreaming that there's a monster in Shield Bro's room, so Shu came over to help Shield Bro fight it. Yushu's voice came from afar. Sleepwalking? You have this problem? Lin Yi's voice said. Oh yeah, Shu's a little sick, I've had this problem since I was young. Shield Bro, can you take a look at me? Aren't you a miracle doctor? Yushu's voice said. Alright, Shu. Also, your sleep should be very good, so in theory, you shouldn't be sleepwalking. Plus, there's something called benzoin in the chicken we're having tonight, and it has a calming effect. You won't even be able to go to the toilet after using it, much less sleepwalking. It's even possible that you'll wet your bed, Lin Yi said. What benzoin? Yushu's voice said. You don't know? Lin Yi's voice said. I don't know anything, Yushu's voice said. Shu, are you sick? Lin Yi's voice said. Maybe. Shield bro, did you just wake up? Did I wake you up? Yushu's voice said. Yushu cut it off, but these recordings were enough to prove that Lin Yi wasn't affected by the benzoin. Not only that, but he was starting to suspect Yushu. After listening to the recording, Yui's face darkened. He had some doubts about Yushu's words, but now he didn't. He could hear Lin Yi's voice, and since Lin Yi could call out the benzoin's name, it meant that he was on guard. It seemed that Lin Yi wasn't just good at practicing, he was good at medicine as well. I told you, Lin Yi isn't easy to deal with. I almost exposed myself. If I pissed him off and he went to House U, who would bear the responsibility? Yushu asked. Even if House U has someone supporting them, would you wait until you're all dead before you take revenge on Lin Yi? This is a serious matter, I need to discuss it with the head. Yui was silent for a moment before getting out of the car and dialing the elder Yu's number. Yushu let out a sigh of relief when she saw Yui make the call. What a close shave. Shield bro, this was the only time I could buy you some time. I hope you'll train hard as soon as possible. Yui talked on the phone for a full 20 minutes before he opened the door and got into the car again. Chapter 24:13. Yushu's heart skipped a beat when she saw Yu, but she kept a straight face. Yui closed the car door and said to Yushu with a gloomy face, The head of the house is very angry. You didn't handle this matter well. There's nothing I can do. Lin Yi is too powerful. What can I do? If you don't give me the antidote and let me die of heat, I can only accept my fate. Yushu was a little nervous at the point she told everyone about how strong Lin Yi was to save her own life. After all, no one wanted to die. The old master will give you another chance since it's not your fault, Yui said. Oh? Yushu didn't think that her gamble was right. House Yu didn't have the intention to kill her, but on the surface Yushu didn't show it. What chance? Monitor Lin Yi, Yuan said. We absolutely cannot allow Lin Yi to interact with House Yu's Yuning. If there's anything unusual, inform us immediately. Yuning? Yushu blinked. What's his relationship with Yuning? You don't know? Yui was surprised. He didn't expect Yushu to not know about Lin Yi and Yuning. What do I know? Yushu was even more confused. Lin Yi knows people from House Yu? You don't need to know so much. Yui snorted and said, You just have to be clear, don't let him contact Yuning. Otherwise, we will cut off the supply of medicine to you. Oh. All right. Yushu nodded. Don't forget who you are. You're our spy in the common world. If you want to get rid of the fire poison and meet your parents, you'll have to listen to us. Yui said. Oh, my parents, are they well? A trace of sadness flashed in Yushu's eyes. She'd never seen her parents' faces since she was young, and she didn't even know who they were. How sad was that? The only thing Yushu knew was that they were locked up by House Yu. If you're good, they'll naturally be good. They will naturally be buried with you, Yui said faintly. Oh. Yushu sighed. Every time she asked, the answer was the same. If she didn't secretly take Yutian's blood sample for a DNA test, she wouldn't believe that she wasn't Yutian's biological sister. However, she didn't dare to ask her parents about the truth of the matter, much less Old Man Chin. She was afraid that House Yu would see the problem. To harm her parents. And House Yu didn't allow her to reveal the secret. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. You know the rules. Don't have feelings for Lin Yi, and don't lose your virginity. Otherwise, if you die, your parents will die too, warned Yui. Oh. Yushu nodded. All right, it's about time. You can go back, Yui said lightly. Okay. Yushu opened the car door and got out, her underwear soaked in sweat. It had only been half an hour, but she'd already been soaked in sweat. She'd experienced life and death. Pho! Yushu let out a long sigh and tried to calm herself down. On her face, there was that silly, sneaky smile again as she walked towards the economics building. Drive, Yusi, Yui said to the driver. Yes, big brother, Yusi replied. They're both young misses, but their fates are completely different. Yui sighed and muttered to himself. Big brother, what did you say? Yusi froze. He didn't understand Yui's words. Nothing, just drive. Yui naturally wouldn't explain anything to Yusi. There were many things that were House Yu's top secrets. Only he, Old Man Yu, and the current head of the house, Yu Xiaochen, knew about it. Okay. Yusi didn't ask much. He naturally understood the rules of House Yu. Yushu returned to the class and informed the teacher before sitting next to Mengyao. Shu, what's wrong with you? You went to the washroom for more than half an hour? Mengyao looked at the time on her phone. She asked curiously. Oh, I got up in a hurry this morning and forgot to go to the washroom. Yushu stuck her tongue out. That's still too long. Why didn't you fall in? Mengyao didn't ask any more and continued listening to the class. Heh, Yushu said. I almost fell in. The class passed quickly, and Lin Yi finished his practice. He opened his eyes and was about to say something to Xinyan when he saw Panhu and Zhaolong walking towards him. Xinyan, wanna go for a walk? Zhaolong walked to Lin Yi's table and extended his hand, inviting Xinyan. He didn't seem to care about Lin Yi at all. Han Jingjing, how's your pill refining going? At the same time, Right Coiling Tiger sat down beside Han Jingjing and asked. Let's exchange some pointers? Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. What were these two doing? One was trying to get close to Xinyan, and the other was trying to get close to Han Jingjing. Were these two prepared? Sorry, I want to read. Xinyan didn't show any disgust towards Xiaolong, but she didn't show too much passion either. She only waved the book in her hand calmly. Haha, Xinyan, we're a couple after all. We haven't seen each other for so long, can't you give me a chance? Xiaolong smiled. Sorry, it's the end of the semester soon. I need to study hard, and there's still a lot of questions I don't know. Xinyan maintained her smile as she spoke indifferently. I see. Haha, I'm a PhD after all. You can ask me if you don't know anything, I'll help you. Zhaolong reacted quickly. He could find a way to interact with Xinyan if she wanted to study. He smiled and sat in the seat in front of Lin Yi. It was break time, and the students in front of Lin Yi went out to exercise. This was a good opportunity for Zhaolong. Oh, that's fine. Xinyan flipped open her notebook and pushed a question in front of Zhaolong. Then I'll have to trouble you to analyze this for me, Professor Kang. What's the role of the burnt betel nut in this prescription? Can it be replaced with other herbs? Is the effect of the replacement better or weaker than the previous prescription? Let me see. Zhaolong took Xinyan's notes, but his face changed when he took a closer look at the question. This was a very obscure recipe. Zhaolong hadn't even seen it before. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.